Bigger, bigger, better, better, bolder, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, bigger, better, better, bolder, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman, live, direct, it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Hump Day Wednesday, folks. How is everyone doing today? Hope you guys are having a beautiful day. We got a lot to cover. So I'm going to do a couple things in the background, and then we're going to kick off what no doubt will be a very, very interesting discussion. Let me just go ahead and get Instagram started. Big shout out to all of our Instagram listeners, Facebook, YouTube, Radioland. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week so far. And we got to get to it. So a couple things, couple stories that you may have seen that we've been working on for you. We'll go through some of those now. And I'm going to turn on my camera here in a second. I still am playing with this. This is a new camera, and I'm kind of playing with it a little bit. It's a very, very tiny camera. I mean, when I say tiny, I mean it fits in the palm of your hand, it's tiny. And I have noticed that it kind of shifts easily on the stand that I have it on. So I'm still perhaps playing around with that a little bit to get it more stabilized. So bear with me as I work out some of those details, because it makes a difference. I noticed yesterday it was moving a little bit during the show when I would touch the keyboard and stuff. So I'll get it sorted. Don't y'all worry, honey chill. That's what we do around here. We resolve problems, even in the studio, my darlings. So, yeah. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna soon just doing my eyes. That means I'm just putting on a little bit of mascara. I'm so lazy in the beauty department. Can't be bothered every day with all the makeup and stuff. I don't know how some of y'all do it. Some of y'all put on some beat faces. I'd be like, oh my gosh. Wow, look at you. Every day, multiple times a day, you got to change up makeup. Oh, it's just too much. It's too much for me. But I am doing a little bit more these days to look pretty. I trying to look pretty for y'all. Kathy Watson, I trying to look pretty for you, honey child. Kathy's probably like, no. Don't bother. So I do my eyes because I've got, as you guys know, I've got really big eyes, honey child. I can thank my father for that. And so I figure the one thing, do the big things. Right? I got big lips and I got big eyes. So if I do those two, then you can probably ignore the fact that I don't really wear foundation or anything else. So I just do a little bit of mascara on the eyes and then a little bit of lipstick or lip gloss, and we are good to rock and roll. Yes. All right, Faith and Hope. Good morning, beautiful. How are you? Hope that you're having a good week. Aliano, what's happening, K-Man? Apparently a lot. So did you guys see the news that Loop is shutting down? Wow. Now, it's not really a surprise to me, I'll be honest, but they've been going for 11 years. And they started in 2014. And, you know, I used to do a little bit of freelance work with them. And in fact, I credit them for giving me the final push, the final motivation to start CMR, because my gosh, they were so skittish. They were afraid of everything called the story. And so I used to work with this young lady, Danica. I don't even know where she's at now. She was living in Jamaica, Jamaican Canadian, but she was actually living in Jamrock. And she reached out to me one day, I'll remember that, and said, oh, you know, I understand you know a lot about what's going on in Cayman. Everybody always mentions your name. You're in the know. And so I said, really? She said, yeah. Would you mind kind of collaborating with us? Because she'd never even been to Cayman. And I was like, how are you writing for a Cayman publication, Loop Cayman, and you've never been here? So pretty much they would just like cover press releases and stuff like that, right? All the easy stuff. And I said, well, you know, that's not really my thing. I'm into the real news, into the community. And she said, yeah, that's why we want you to kind of work with us and whatever. So I said, all right, let's give it a try and see what happens. But they were so skittish, folks. Every single time I would send them a story, it was like, oh no, that story's too hot to handle. And we need to talk to legal, and we need to do this, and we need to do that. And I was like, no, honey child. This is ridiculous. And so eventually, and there was always so many conflicts of interest because, you know, they're owned by Digicel. So Digicel, I remember one time their country manager here in Cayman had basically gotten terminated. He got the axe. Can't remember which one, but anyway. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a big story. Back then, they were more relevant in a way, and they wouldn't touch it. She's like, oh no, legal said. I'm like, oh my God, you people in legal. I'm like, really? And of course, legal was in Jamaica, not willing to push the envelope on anything. So I got up one day, I sent her a recommendation for story, and she's like, oh no, it's too hot to handle. So I said, you know what? I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go off and start my own thing. I don't know if she believed me because I just said it very matter-of-factly, just like that, honey chill. And so she was like, okay. And that's how it started, 2017. And so it's been an interesting journey. And then you guys want to hear the most ironic thing about life and how life can really switch up on us? You never know. Aunt Lottie always used to say, make sure, you know, you're careful when you think you're climbing that ladder in life, because the people you're passing along the way, when you're come tumbling back down, they're the same people you're going to be saying hello to, or you might be seeing their rear end as you've fallen back down the ladder. But she eventually had to leave Digicel. And then during COVID, during the lockdown, she didn't have anything to do. So I brought her on board with CMR to help me out with some stories. And so she worked with me for a little bit until I'm going to adjust my camera now. Hold on one second. Honey, chill. I think it needs to be this way a little bit. Oh, I need to turn on my light behind me, my flag. So it's a little bit dark though. Don't y'all think so? The background is dark, which I don't personally mind. Actually, I kind of like that look myself, but give me 1 second. I'm going to make some adjustments to my background and then tell me what y'all think. 1 second, honey child. So, this is interesting. All right, let's play a longer commercial. Yes.
I am Richard Hugh, President and CEO of CUC. Our focus has always been on you, our customers. Times are changing, and so are your expectations. We are listening to our employees and the people of the Cayman Islands to find new opportunities that can improve your experience. We are working every day to provide you with a safe and reliable electricity service. You are at the core of everything that we do. We are exploring and adopting new technologies and sources of energy which will benefit you as we become more reliable and more efficient, which will mean lower energy costs. We are working to improve our energy management tools, offer new products and services, and provide 24/7 customer support. Our new vision, empowering Cayman to be a global leader, is building momentum towards a better future for our islands.
There we go. So, I still got it wrong. How on earth do I manage to do that? All right, hold on. Cayman Mall Road is always keen to bring you the latest news first as it happens. So we've switched on WhatsApp channels to make it more convenient for both you and us to get all of the latest news alerts, traffic alerts, and everything else that's happening in your community. It's really, really simple to join the channel. First, just make sure that you've got the latest version of the WhatsApp application installed on your smart device. Then scan the barcode that you see here on the screen. That's going to open up the channel page and gives you the option to follow it. So you're going to want to click on follow. Then step number 2, at the top right hand corner, you're going to see the button that says turn on notifications. It's the little bell, so simply click on it and it'll turn it on, because by default notifications are off for channels. And then that's pretty much it. At the bottom of your phone, when you're in WhatsApp, you'll see an area called updates, and that is where you'll click to see the WhatsApp channel, and all of your daily updates will be there. And you can even go back to when the channel was first set up several months ago and see everything that's been posted. It's a great way to keep up with CMR and everything that we're posting to bring you Cayman's latest news. Okay. I think we're finally making some proper progress this morning. Let me put in my earphones so that I can hear as well. Most of the day yesterday, I completely had them off and did not even realize. Okay. All right, we're still playing around with it. Anyway, so I was telling you guys the Loop story. So yeah, so they she came and worked with me for a bit, and then she started to get greedy because listen, she wrote for other people, and she thought that I had to like pay all her bills. And I was like, oh honey child, you just writing a few stories. So I'm like, nope, that's not going to work. We're just a little small company. We're not no big millionaire company vibe, you know? So I, unfortunately for her, we had to part ways. And then I got Renee on board, and Renee has been amazing. And, you know, we just work really, really well together, and it's good synergy. And then we have some other people on the technical side who do quite a bit. So kind of sad in a way to see Loop go. But they have had a number of people. After she left, then I think they kind of flopped around for a bit. Then they got the young lady here. What's her name? Something Chung. I think she's Canadian as well, but they got her to do stuff for them. Diane or Dion, something her name is. And then they got Alric. He was kind of some correspondence writer for a hot minute. And then, of course, he left at some point last year as well. And it was sort of the same thing, because Alric was saying, you know, he was always making recommendations to them on how to improve and how to do different things. And unfortunately, they were not really, they were just a little bit too corporate. Yeah. Somebody said that's what greed choke puppy. Yeah. well, after that, I don't know what she did, but I wished her all the best of luck. And I said, yep, we're not Digicel. I don't know if she was able to make those kind of demands of Digicel and got anywhere, but I said, that's not who we are. And, this market, especially when you're a freelancer and you're kind of just doing articles and stuff like that. So yeah. So yes, what a hot mess. So goodbye to Digicel. And they also, I didn't realize that they were Sportsmax, which is something I actually never knew. I'm not really into Caribbean TV as such, but apparently they are shutting down Sportsmax as well. So they said that they want to focus on their sort of core business, which I think all telecom companies should, to be honest. I don't know why they decide to get into other things and then they're like, oh yeah, that's not working for us. Same thing with Flow and Logic. Well, Logic has been a little bit different, but same thing with Flow. I think that Flow should really just focus on like telecom, you know what I mean? And not all this other stuff that they do. So yeah, they focus on all sorts of foolishness. Like television. Yeah, I don't really feel like they should even be bothered with that, to be honest. Get your core business right, which is telephony, and then internet, and people are going to be happy. Oh, what a mess. All right. Someone said Raul Nicholson Cole was the country manager. For Loop Cayman, no. For Digicel, but that's different because Loop, I always understood it that the local countries didn't really have much to do with Loop. That was being ran out of like Jamaica and stuff, more at the corporate level. So Digicel, the company, I guess they're still hanging on and doing whatever. Yeah. So, yes. Okay. So I tell you what, somebody says, okay. All right. So yeah, what a hot mess. All right. Top of the morning to you, honey chow. Jim, how you doing? So you guys might notice this morning, I'm rocking a few curls. Y'all see Curly Sue going on up in the studio. And so I want to thank my girlfriend for helping me get this look. Gigi is so funny. But she's like, Mom, you have naturally curly hair. I said, yes, I know, but I don't normally wear my curls. So I've been going on this journey. A lot of you have been following me of going back to more natural hair, but I'm going to explain what that means for me, right? Meaning, and I had someone this weekend said, oh my gosh, your hair always looks so healthy. What do you do? So I decided to stop chemically straightening my hair. And now I just do treatments and stuff, right? And then I just get a good Spanish blow dry, which apparently if they know what they're doing with the blow dryer and the brush, they can pretty much get it straight. And then you just curl and iron it, honey chill. So, when I was much younger, just about Gigi's age, I went to the States and I always had a lot of hair and it was always like super thick and just like crazy and out of control. And my aunt used to do it for me. Unfortunately, because my aunt did it for me and she really babied me in a way that was not probably entirely healthy. Like she was overprotective, but in a way almost overpossessive, really, right? So she wanted to do everything for me. And that meant that I was not entirely independent when the day I decided to move out. And so I'm useless with hair. Absolutely useless. I've never used a curl and iron in my life. I don't use blow dryers. I don't know anything about these things. I'm useless. So I started processing my hair after I moved out. And, after a while, it takes a toll. So during my pregnancy, I really realized that the pregnancy took a lot. I feel like Gigi took all my hair. It really took a lot out of me. Not in the sense that I wasn't like really sick or anything like that. Mm, uh, so, yes. So yeah. So I was. Oh, hold on one second. Just Yeah. So one, I noticed how brittle it was. It was breaking and everything. I said, you know what? Let me just stop um straightening my hair. And then what I would do is I would just like, I had to cut it off and kind of start all over. So I went really, really short. Some of you might remember. I actually hate short hair because short hair for me means I got to do something. So for a minute, and she actually remembers this, she's like, I remember your hair was kind of red and short. So for a minute, what I would do is I would go and get it curled because it was so short. It was a lot easier to do. And, okay, some are on the way. Yes. So I would go and get it curled, and then I could wear it almost for the whole week because it really held the curls. So then I started to just let it grow back out, no more treatment. So for years now, I have not had any you guys know what straightener I'm talking about if you're in the community of colored people. So I haven't done that to my hair, and it is a lot healthier. I don't think it's ever as thick as it was. Like, it'll probably never get there again kind of vibe. But most of the time I just have it straight, and I might do like bigger curls when I go with, they just quickly do it with the curl and iron. That doesn't really last all that long. So for me to have like proper curls, like she's going to laugh this morning when she sees it, but for me to have like proper, more curls, I need to like, put curlers in it, sleep in it at night. So we did just a little twist. My girlfriend came over last night. I was like, you know what? I haven't done this in a while. We used to do it all the time, her and I. And I was like, do a couple curls. So she just took the little rollers, the what do you call those? Like little tube rollers, little soft ones. And she just like did a couple twist things. So that's what I'm rocking today. But it didn't entirely take, like if you see the back, there's actually a piece in the back that, see, it didn't really take the curl. So I don't know what happened back there. Yeah, so you can't really see it though. But anyway, that's what I'm doing this morning. Now, so I'm rocking a few curls. Figured I'd do something a little bit different. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I got a folder here. We're going to be talking about Maples and Colda and some immigration breaches. So we will do that this morning. Is that the after hours show is throwing off a sultry vibe? Is this the after? Oh my God, Jim, that is so funny. Nope, not sultry. Well, it might get spicy this morning, but a different kind of spice. So goodbye, not to Digicel, the telecom company, but to Loop News across the board, all their countries, because they were in a couple different jurisdictions, and Sportsmax, which again, I never knew that Loop did. So, but Digicel has been kind of struggling overall. They've had some financial struggles. And so I suppose really that this is the world of telecom. So Strong Will says too much blow dryers. Yeah, anything like that, like heat and stuff like that isn't good for your hair. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. He says you can rock it. Job well done. Yes, honey, yeah. So let me, thank you, Gabby. Roller rods. I think that's what they are. So Gabby says they need better customer service. Well, I haven't been with them in a while. So I can't speak to their situation too much as a telecom company even. But, I've been rocking with, what the heck? Not even that one. Ugh. All right, so I have been rocking with Flow and trying to get them to commit to better service and stuff as well. Boy, customer service seems like it's a dying situation. So anyway, we're going to say goodbye to Loop. 11 years, and that's it. The landscape of media is constantly changing, trust me. And it's really why you need to be you need to be forward thinking and always on top of it. Another headliner this morning: TSA is going to phase out the shoe removal requirement to select U.S. airports. I hope Miami International Airport is one of them, because let me tell you, I hate taking off my shoes. But so far, they're starting with the Baltimore Washington International Airport, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood, Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International, Portland International, Philadelphia, and Piedmont. And I don't even know where that is. Oh, North Carolina. So they said that other major hubs, including LA, New York, LaGuardia, and others are coming. So can we please add Miami International Airport to the list? Because I must tell you that Miami International Airport is actually one of the bigger airports. So yeah, it's pretty big. Thousands of flights a day. Like, listen, you only need to fly into Miami to know what I'm talking about. When you're in Doral, the number of flights that you see coming and going, and you see 4 or 5 airplanes in the sky at the same time, Miami is an extremely busy airport. So I hope that they do that, because you guys know I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. And I must tell you that I don't believe at a busy airport like that anything in that airport ever gets properly cleaned. I mean, how could it really? Ugh, millions of people going through there, full of germs. And so when they have you take off your shoes and walk on that carpet, when do you think that carpet has ever been cleaned? Like, seriously, that don't get cleaned? Ugh. And imagine the people with all sorts of foot things. Ugh. So I walk with my booties when I travel, the blue booties, and I put them, I have to take off my shoes, and I put them on my feet, and I walk and I take them out and I throw them away. I would rather not have to do that, like for 5 seconds of walking on carpet. But I refuse to walk on those nasty carpets, honey child. I'm like, no, I'm not about to catch some fungus on my foot because this carpet hasn't been cleaned in the past 25 years. That's right, Jim. Jim says it's not clean. Ugh, I can't even imagine the germs in that. All those people with nasty toes taking off their shoes and walking on the carpet, and then you want me to do it? Oh, honey child, please. So poor Gigi, whenever she goes through Miami International Airport, because of her age, she doesn't have to take her shoes off. But then Cayman, she has to take her shoes off. So she's always confused, like, why do I have to take off my shoes, Mom, in Cayman, but I don't have to do it here? And I said, well, apparently, honey child, every airport has a different set of rules, and it's just so ridiculous. Ugh, I'm over it. Those 9/11 people have made my life miserable. Travel is no longer fun. It used to be fun. I thought as a kid, traveling was a lot of fun. Now, I want to get to my destination, obviously, so I have no choice. But the process of getting there is like so painful. When Marlon gets his UK passport, we're going to sign up for that. What's it called? Whatever that thing is, where you can like go in and not have to do all this additional security clearance. I forget what it's called, but yes. So Cayman imports surged 8.3% to a $1.65 billion business in 2024. We know that we're largely an importing company. We bring in most of our goods, 99.9%. And so we continue to do that. They say this is robust import growth in 2024. Well, this certainly explains all the import companies, all the like smaller companies that bring in goods for people. They're able to thrive. And I thought that after COVID, maybe some of them would have, disappeared. I think the ones with the really bad service have disappeared, but a lot of them remain very much alive and well. So they say that the growth was primarily fueled by non-petroleum imports, which climbed to 9% of the $1.4 billion, indicating strong domestic demand across multiple sectors of the economy. Spanned across essential goods, including meat preparations, fresh vegetables and fruits, cereals, dairy products, eggs, suggesting both population growth and increased consumer spending. Yes, y'all got money to be buying eggs. But listen to this one. The island also saw significant growth in beverage and tobacco imports. Naughty, naughty. Which jumped from 9.2% to $62.3 million, driven by import imports of alcoholic beverages, including beer and whiskey, as well as non-alcoholic drinks like mineral and sparkling water. I'm not surprised by the alcohol bit because y'all love to drink. Machinery and transport imports grew by 5.5%. Reflecting continued investment in infrastructure and transportation. The category saw increased purchases of road vehicles, power generating equipment, and electrical machinery. Okay. Manufacturing related imports also contributed to the growth, with manufactured goods classified as materials showing an increase due to imports of like metal manufacturing, non-ferrous materials, and cork and wood products. So there you go. But some areas did not see a growth, including crude material imports, excluding fuels, declined by 20.1% to reduce imports of cork and wood, crude fertilizers, and textile fibers. I was kind of wondering, what kind of businesses would those be? Petroleum and petroleum-related products grew by 4.6%. Meaning $225.1 million, and lagged behind the overall growth rate. Interesting. And you had higher than average prices and increased volumes of fuel imported during the year. Miscellaneous articles like clothing, photographic equipment, furniture had a modest growth of 4.6%. So very, very interesting. You can go check out the Cayman Islands Annual Foreign Trade Statistics Report, which is available at the ESO office. You know, the ESO does an amazing job, folks, and that includes giving you these extremely useful reports. And so, you know, read them. We did a little summary. Global entry, thank you. Yeah, that's what I wanted to sign up for. I'm going to do that, global entry. Yes. All right. So there you have it. What a hot mess. Okay. So other headliners this morning. Then we're going to get into Maples and Calder. And then I want to talk a little bit about politics because apparently that's still alive and well. So there is a labor force survey saying that unemployment is down and underemployment increases. What a hot mess. I think we need to spend some time with that one. And Constitution Day, 3 new members were appointed to the Constitutional Commission, including retired Justice Henderson. Somebody said, Sandy, he's still around? Yes, honey child. Very much so. I tell you what. All right, let's get into Maples and Calder. So I should preface this conversation by first saying that thank you, Anthony. He says he always listens to the program. Appreciate it. We got people all over listening. But yes, let me just say this. Oh, Soka. Oh, God. She works at the airport, of course, Cayman Airways. One of the few Caymanians. I think you might be, are you the last of the Mohicans? The last of the Caymanians at Miami? Because now they've outsourced it to some other company. Soka says they don't clean it, they change it. It's been changed a few times since I've been there, but doesn't take long to get filthy. I hate carpet. The tiles are cleaned nightly. Big cleaning crew comes in at 11 p.m. Yeah, they should do away, but I get it that I guess people will be complaining about the coldness of the tile, but still. Carpets are, ew. I agree with you. I'm not a big carpet fan. I have 1 or 2 pieces in my house, and normally because all of us have, sinus issues, and I feel like everybody's allergic to dust and stuff because every time I go, they're like, oh yeah, you got a dust allergy. I'm like, no kidding. Who's not allergic to dust? Maybe it's a bit more sensitive for some of us, and that's why we always have sinus issues and whatever. But Yes, Miss Brenda, trying out a new camera. And so the new camera picks up things differently. So I want to know what you guys think. It looks a little bit darker in the background, especially. But I'm not so sure I mind it. Let me know what you think. I can make adjustments to certain elements of it. So I can increase the brightness. Like, is this better? I just increased it just now. Did y'all see that? Do you prefer that? But then I don't want to look washed out. So the exposure level, the brightness, maybe that's a little bit better. But you see, I prefer it darker, and I'll tell you why. Because my flag in the background, when I go to like here, whoops, not that far. Like here, I feel like the flag is better. The coloring on the flag isn't washed out. And then I can increase my exposure so I can, ooh, that's too much. So I think that's where I was before. So anyway, makes you look green. Honey chill. There is a, oh, no, I have it on manual. Oh, we don't want that one. Whoa. So shall I brighten it up a little bit? There is a green light behind me, so I think that's what you're seeing more of. Your skin color is looking more yellow when brighter. So you prefer it not yellow? Like, ooh, like there. Some people are saying that they prefer the other camera to this one. Anyway, listen, we're going to play around with it a little bit. So we could go there. Yeah, it's picking up on that green light that I have on. I do have on a green light over there in the corner, and it's really picking up on that. But the technology, where did I put the card? It does have a card thing where I can do like white balancing and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, just playing around with it a little bit. And we'll see. We can always go back to the old camera. The old camera is right here. So the light in the background must be toned down. Believe it or not, the only light I have is that one. So it wasn't on earlier. I can turn it off. So remove the green light. Okay, let me show you. But when I remove the green light, it's really dark. It's even darker because there is no light back there. All right, give me a second. I'm going to remove the green light. I'm going to turn it off and then see what you guys think. Hold on one second. I got to play music so that the radio doesn't disconnect me. 1 second, honey, chill.
Great news, K-Man! Tim Hortons is finally open and ready to serve you. Start your day right with our delicious all-day breakfast, or grab a box of our famous Timbits and a dozen donuts for a sweet treat. Need a quick pick-me-up? Swing by our drive-thru for your favorite espresso drink anytime. We're open weekdays from 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. on the weekends, closing 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, with 2 entrances at the Shamrock Road Roundabout in Red Bay. It's time for Tim's.
All righty. So, see, it's just dark. All right, let's leave it alone. We not got time for all that. We're busy. Okay, so let me say this. All right. I used to work for Maples and Calder, disclosure. And I have lights. That, trust me, that's not the problem. And you do not want a ring light. Y'all trying to tell me about lights? Honey, chill. Let's just say I have more lights than Quaker has oats. I can change the color of that one, so I might just change the color of it and give you guys something else to complain about. So no, ring lights, there's a reason why professionals don't really use ring lights. Ring lights normally looks like the little small makeup artist people, and you can always see the ring in their eyes from the ring light. We use different types of lights, but I'm actually contemplating, let's go to Amazon. Y'all need to stop this now, because y'all can force me to go to Amazon, and you're going to force me to buy a light that no doubt I probably really don't need. But I was looking at another light the other day that came highly recommended. Is it on sale? Let me see. I want to see what Amazon's putting on sale, because they claim that they have this big sale on right now. This is a newer light that, let me see. Oh, why is my cart so full of toys for kids? You see, this is what I'm telling y'all. Y'all stressing me out. All these little squishy toys for Gigi. She comes to me now, Mom, can you go on Amazon.com and look at this for me? I need a sweater for school. I need this. I'm like, school just let out. You don't need nothing for school. Okay? I don't know why you trying to finagle me into getting you something, because I'm pretty sure you don't need it. But Mom, I be cold in the classroom. Okay, so where is this light I was looking at? Oh Lord, I got to go back to YouTube to find it again. Another person was recommended. All right, so listen. I used to work at Maples and Calder. Full disclosure, I actually want to thank them because at the time I got a scholarship there, went to law school on their dime. But low key, they've always been a bit shady. Actually, not low key. I remember when a particular partner said to me one day, I was out on leave, and so I went in to do a little bit of work, except that I was not particularly well, I was on study leave and I was supposed to be studying. And so one day I went in, because whenever you took like 6 weeks off, a month off, by the time you got back, you had all of these ridiculous emails. So I went in one day and I tried to, keep on top of my emails by just checking them periodically. And I saw that this attorney had, one of the partners had sent me a request to do some research for him. And so I said, honey, chill. I just out of courtesy, I replied and said, well, I actually on study leave. And so I just wanted to let you know, but okay, good luck with that. Well, only Lord knows why I did that, because my goodness, he lost it and called me, you come into my office right now. And I was like, irks, pump the brakes, honey, chill. What kind of madness you going on with? Come into my office right now. I was like, okay, honey, chill. What's going on? Then he proceeded to say things to me like, when I say jump, you must say how high. I was like, oh, y'all know me, right? Oh my God. If you think I was bad now, y'all had to see me back then, because I was like, first of all, this is what I said to him. I listened as carefully as I possibly could. And then I said, let me tell you something. This is how I operate. Okay? I said, with all due respect, and whenever I say that, you need to listen very carefully to what's going to follow, because it's important what's going to follow. I said, let me be very clear, because I think that perhaps you guys are confusing me with some other Caymanians up in here who have to sleep with people to climb up the corporate ladder. I said, my last name ain't no Bodden, and I'm not sleeping with nobody. That's her, not me. Okay, so there's certain things I'm not going to do to get anywhere in life. And so I'm not sleeping with anybody to get to the top. I'm not kissing anybody's behind to get to the top. If I am incapable of getting there because of my own capabilities, then, it's going to be what it's going to be. And we're going to just have to ride with it. Okay, because if you don't have the skills, then what are you going to do? So, he also proceeded to tell me how he has Caymanian politicians in his back pocket. And I was like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with me. But I found it interesting nonetheless. Well, how do you think so-and-so, at the time there's a Caymanian managing partner, they give you these titles in name only. Well, how do you think, her husband got elected in public? I'm like, listen, none of my business. I don't care. Okay. But I take it in because I know that's why they get to do a lot of the foolishness that they get to do, because these politicians be running interference. So I remember a story in terms of way back when. I guess I'm trying to think now how long ago this would have actually been. Oh, Lord, long time ago. Because I started there, I think, in 97. I left after law school, so it would have been at some point after 2000. But, Neela says, that seems fine to me, but your viewers feel like they need to see everything in your background. I kind of like the fact that you don't actually, that it's more chill. But we'll work on it. Y'all relax about the camera. See, Paul says when you had the green light on, it was fine. Can't please people. That's rule number 1 in life. If you try to please everybody, you will run crazy. So that's why I don't bother. All right, but let's keep going. So I must say that, I was aware of a couple instances where Maples wasn't doing the right thing. Yes? Let me give you an example. I'll be very frank and honest with you. Most of the partners back in those days were English, white, not a whole lot of diversity. Most of the lawyers were English, white, not a whole lot of diversity. And a lot of the support staff were English, white, and not a whole lot of diversity. Now, let me not say that they're prejudiced for the sake of arguing. But can I say that if you look at their staff complements, that you would be of the impression that they preferred a certain type of staff? Well, yes, that's right. I mean, anybody who, a blind man could probably have said that. I don't think that would be anything earth-shattering. And it probably isn't a shock to most of you. And so, they were an English firm, and I guess people prefer their own people. Except when they do it to the detriment of Caymanians and then they lie about it, they lie to immigration about it, that's when we have a problem. And so I met a lot of people there. Some of them were so nice, all walks of life. But I also saw a lot of stupidity there. I remember they had hired this one American girl, white, of course. She worked in litigation under Andrew Jones, claimed that she was a paralegal. Boy, she had no common sense whatsoever. Let me tell you something. For me to say that somebody not got a lick of common sense, something wrong. I remember one time, Claudia, I think Claudia was her name. I can picture her clearly, but names sometimes, but I think it's Claudia. I don't even know. My old Maples friends can probably remember. Paralegal, so she came. And she actually decided she was by Paramount. Remember where Paramount Computers, remember when Kenny had a computer store back in the day? And then there was like the little place almost diagonal to them, like when you're going towards a TV station back in those days. And then there was a little place there that had, I thought they sold like tiles and whatever. I don't think they're there anymore. I forget what they're called, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So she went to Paramount Computers, a little plaza behind the bigger Paramount Plaza, and she backed into someone and hit their car, and she left the scene. So someone reached out, and they contacted us. I used to help out at reception because I was in law school. And I said, oh, I know who she is when they described her. I'm like, yeah, I know who she is. And so when I went and spoke to Claudia, she was like, oh, I didn't know I hit anybody because my radio was on. I was like, let me try to figure out what the hell you're saying, girl. You back up and hit someone That's a different sense. Touch is different from audio. But because your radio's on, you didn't feel that you hit someone and then you took off and came back to Maples and Calder? I was like, girl, you cannot be that stupid. Time, sure enough, told that she was not bright at all. But this is what would happen. Maples and Calder would hire sometimes some of the stupidest people in order to just fill their comfort level, I should say, of hiring their own white, fair skin, most likely English. You know what was so funny back in those days is they would always send out, I remember Tony Travers would always, by the way, I saw him recently. Funny enough, one of the last flights that I was taken in from Miami, not the last one, not last week, but the one before, there were two ex-Maples partners on the flight that used to work there when I was there, Tim Ridley and Tony Travers. Tony Travers sat right next to me in first class on the plane. Said he was coming back from London and he was so tired. I'm like, good for you. Put on your headset, honey, chill. So they would always send out these messages about, oh, you guys no longer working and you're no longer barmaids and whatever. And, you know, you must dress professionally to come to work. Well, I knew they weren't talking about the Caymanians. Because let me tell y'all something. We might be the fanciest, but Caymanians gonna dress proper. And so they would send out these emails to everyone. I'm thinking, who the hell are these people talking about? They were talking about, for sure, the same English barmaids, now secretaries in Cayman. Okay, they could go from being a barmaid, which they knew because that's what they'd say in the emails, to all of a sudden being a secretary and getting paid $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Money that they never saw in the UK, mind you. So I was like, oh, okay. Some foolishness would happen at that place that would blow your mind, like for real. And I have seen enough of it to know what I'm talking about. At one point, Sharon Pearson said to me, Sandy, you're in my office again, defending other people, trying to defend my own Caymanians that didn't have no backbone. She said, stop putting yourself in this position because when you turn around and look behind you, the Caymanians that you're defending are not here. You're the one whose name's being called up and stuff. And I said, that's true. And it's not even my fight. Man, her people some of her people ain't got no backbone. So there was an instance I know when I was there that they got a fine for immigration because they lied on their application form. Typical, the same thing that they're lying about now. So not much has changed, I suppose. Claiming that all Caymanians did not apply for the job. Boy, really. And in one instance, there was a young lady who's a secretary and they decided to elevate her to IT. And then they lied on the work permit about what she was actually doing at Maples and Calder. And somehow immigration found out and they fined them for that. So I suspect if we did an FOI that they would actually release, I'm of the opinion that Maples has probably paid more administrative fines than anybody else in this country. And there's something that I want to say about this, right? Because in my mind, having a billion-dollar company, I don't know what their financial net worth is, but it's probably close to $1 billion, if not more. Having them pay a minuscule fine every time they do something wrong is illogical and makes zero sense because they can afford to do it. They can afford to break the immigration laws of this country and then just pay a fine and operate business as usual. So I think at some point we need to look closely at the legislation in this company and start fining these people, not $8,000. You know what $8,000 is to Maples and Calder as a company? That's not no money. That is nothing. These partners, when I was there, they were making a base salary of $25,000. $25,000 per month, KYD, plus partnership drawdowns. Okay? Or Kirks? I'm just saying. What is $8,000? They spend $8,000 on a dinner party easily. When one of the partners left. I think it was Tim Ridley. He had a nice shebang, a nice party when he decided to retire, honey child. And need I tell you what he spent on his fireworks alone? Like $25,000 easily. I was like, what the hell? So tell me now, what good is $8,000? That ain't nothing to nobody. That's a joke. The fact that our judiciary fined them that, which I don't know what guidelines are in the law or where that amount came from, means that we need to go back to the drawing table. And I agree, Carrie, it should have been more like 800K. That's when they can wake up and get the friggin' message that they need to stop doing this ish. Now, when I was working on my story, oh yeah, somebody said, don't forget labor breaches. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, honey chill. When I was working on the story last week, first of all, let me say this. It was so incredibly interesting that when the press release first came out, they being WORC, refused to name Maples and Calder. So you know me already. I had to step in and said, excuse me, this was a Thursday. I said, this law firm, major law firm that was fined, why haven't you named them? And you know, I was on the hunt. Detective Sandy had on her detective suit and her little glasses. And I was like, I gotta find out who this is. By Thursday, I was about 90% confident Thursday evening that it was Maples and Calder. But I said, why aren't you guys saying? Well, you know, basically, we have been guided to not say this thing. And I'm thinking, guided by who? Who is directing you not to name? I said, they went to court, didn't they? That's an open process. I just happened to not have been there, which means I could go right now, request to see the file, sit down and see the file, and talk about it. But boy, they be hiding stuff, because even when I was messaging the court to say, hey, this major law firm, we don't know who you're talking about. We can't find the file. I said, listen, let me get y'all the cause number, since the court staff don't even seem to know. Oh, we don't see anything on the cause list. Really? Was all of this so hush-hush that it wasn't even the cause list? Because there are those of us who monitor the cause list and who would have seen it if it was properly listed on the cause list. So I'm not confirming that anything shady was going on there with the court, but let me just say that I have my suspicions why it seemed to have gone under the radar until we all got the press release from these people. Yeah? So I wrote them and was giving them the benefit of the doubt to say, listen here, Bobos, the story's coming. This was on Friday, and I will be naming you as the offending law firm, because, you know, they want to play stupid like I didn't know who they were. I said, I will be naming you as the offending law firm. Do you care to give a comment? Now, in all fairness to them, I'm going to be fair. I had given them until 3:00, but news does not always work in that way. So I'd given them until 3:00. I was going to drop the story, but then I was aware, being the only media that was actually going to name them from the onset. So on Thursday, I was not prepared to publish that story, right? The way that their PR person sent it out from WORC, from the ministry, I was not minded to publish it, because when I publish it, I want to name the organization. And I'm only publishing the story one time. Aisle 2025 says, which minister? This is going to be Michael Miles. So when they signed off on this press release to come out of the ministry, and they did not name this company, I want to know who in the ministry gave the PR person directives to not name Maples and Calder. That's the first problem. Because you see, our biggest problem in this country is not the enemy out there, it is the enemy within. And some of them are political enemies as well. Y'all can stand up on Radio Cayman and claim you have backbone. When you show real backbone is when you send out a press release about a public court hearing that's a public, and you say, name them like we would anybody else. Okay? Because when I'm writing about little Joe Schmo that just got arrested for whatever, whether it's a spliff, a bag of cocaine, murderation, child molestation, I want to be able to name him. So civil servants, politicians, whoever gave the directive to not initially name Maples and Calder, and we had to ask, why are you not naming the company? Y'all need to check yourselves. Because anyhow I get confirmation on who that was, I'm going to put you on blast as equally as Maples and Calder. But I'm telling you, that directive came from somewhere. Now, I have my speculations, but we're not going to go deep into the speculations here this morning, because who else is signing off on press releases in a ministry? I'm just saying. That's the big question. Name them, yes. Name them all. Big, large, small, medium, I don't care. We need to know who these people are. Okay. So unfortunately, I couldn't wait until 3 o'clock because I was aware that, as I was doing my research, other media was going to drop it as well. So here's Maples and Calder, managing partner, Mr. Matthew Gardner, sending out this message. All right, Chelsea got it. She is their PR person, Chelsea Rivers. I'm just saying, they sure know how to use their own Caymanians when they're ready. And that's really part of their game. I've never seen a company, they want to hire Caymanian HR people to do their dirty work from. Because I guess it looks better to say, oh, well, our HR manager's Caymanian, our PR people are Caymanian. They think kind of onto them. So he says there are articles mentioning Maples and Calder that have been noted in the Cayman press today following a press release issued today by WORC. By way of background, in 2024, Maples and Calder made an application for a work permit for a new employee. Regrettably, we inadvertently and unintentionally did not include in the covering letter to WORC the name of some Caymanian applicants. Really? Maples, y'all need to do better. We got to talk about that. It is important to note that a full and fair process was followed in respect of all applicants. However, the DPP proceeded with an action against Maples and Calder for failing to include all the names on the covering letter seeking the work permit. We are mindful of WORC's important role, and we have cooperated fully with WORC and the DPP to resolve this matter. The DPP acknowledged that there was no dishonesty or intention to deceive on the part of Maples and Calder. How the heck they can acknowledge that? We are, of course, immensely proud of our people and of the group's position as one of the largest employers of Caymanians. Well, Matt Gardner, good for you. Pat yourself on the back, Bobo, since you believe that this is something that you should be proud about. Now, Mr. Gardner, he's the managing partner, I believe, of the entire group. I fail to believe that you yourself would not know the truth of what is actually happening at Maples and Calder. I'm just saying. Are you serious, dude? Okay. So he tries to water it down to, it's just we forgot to put some names on a cover letter, and the DPP's office has acknowledged that there was no dishonesty. How the blinkety blink would the DPP's office be in such a position to make that sort of an acknowledgement? On what basis would they have made that? I'm just curious. You see, this is where the DPP's office themselves are a bunch of friggin' fraudsters. Not for nothing, but who is running the DPP's office? An Englishman. And they'll all sit down over tea and work it out. Really? You're in no position to conclude whether there was any dishonesty involved or not. When you get the file, and in fact, these are the kind of things that are strict liability. I don't suppose you need any degree of dishonesty. It's either you did it or you didn't do it, right? The immigration law requires you to say which Caymanians applied. You didn't do it. So you didn't put it on the cover letter. My question is, did you put it somewhere else in the application? No, because there's nowhere else in the application that you would have put that information. The way he kind of has this set out, it's as though, well, if you continue to read the application, you would have seen it elsewhere. But yes, honey child. I can't. I'm live on here. Okay. All right. Let me try and let me take a break because I might have some information coming hot off the press about these Maples people. So give me a second, honey child. Let's just throw in a little song. Let me see here now. Okay, folks, thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. All right, let's continue. So when this message, this email that went out to all staff says, we inadvertently didn't put it on the cover letter, that's watering down the situation here, because Mr. Gardner, look clearly at us now this morning, Bobo, because clearly this is when you insult Caymanians and you think that we're all stupid. Look at the immigration law and the requirements on the work permit application. This organization would be one of those organizations that would have a business staffing plan. Yes? And give them credit. They do, give Caymanian scholarship. They do hire some Caymanians, et cetera, et cetera. But is it not legally a requirement that it's not just on the cover letter, but you're supposed to, in the application itself, attach the CVs of these individuals who have applied and also indicate why they did not get the position and instead you're seeking a work permit? Because that goes a little deeper than, oops, we forgot to put it in the cover letter. Not for nothing, but you've got an HR department. I don't know who heads up their HR department in this day and age, but it probably is at least 4 or 5 people strong, because this is an organization that has hundreds of workers. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have a lawyer heading up the HR department to make sure that they are completely compliant with all of the requirements. And this is something you do, I'm sure, I don't know what percentage of their staff are in work permits, but you probably have at least a good 50, 60%, maybe even higher on work permits. So this isn't something that is an oversight in my mind when you do it every single day. Come on now. You've had Caymanians apply for the positions. You're not giving it to the Caymanians. You have to justify why you want an expat who you're going to take out a work permit for to get the position instead. We inadvertently and unintentionally did not include in the covering letter. So you included their CVs instead, right? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So in some instances, they listed some applicants and not others. And you know why they would do something like that? They're not going to list the applicant who immigration can go, oh, honey child, hold on a second now. This person's actually qualified. You don't need a work permit. All you need to do is train her on your internal systems and she is good to go. You better give her the job. So they'll put the people who they know are not qualified, who applied for the job. They're the easy ones that immigration says, well, WRC, yeah, well, they not got the relevant experience, nowhere near close it, et cetera, et cetera. Well, now, we have some evidence of their bad behavior that we're going to have to discuss this morning. And I said to, what I would have recommended to Maples and Calder, although I couldn't give you until 3:00 on Friday because news is not always precise, what I would have suggested to you is that what you could have done is you could have still sent me something to kind of try to make your case. Because according to them, WORC got it wrong and they're the problem and this and that and all kind of foolishness. Now, let me go back to the DPP's office before I forget those losers. And I'm talking about the head of the DPP now, sir. I want you to understand something and understand it very, very clear. Head of HR came out as an Ahisha Bodden. Who's she? Like I tell you, they always want to use one of her own. Caymanian or married to Caymanian? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, one of her own. Mm-hmm. Tokens. Married to Leith Bodden. I don't know who these people are. So listen. What was I telling y'all now? Just lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, DPP's office. So they had 12 charges, 12 or 13 charges, and they decided to drop all of them but one. Really? I would like to see on what basis, and this is where the DPP's office has a lot of leeway. I would like to see on what basis they did they decide, after WRC spent all this time investigating, they did decide not to proceed with 12 or 11 of the charges. On what grounds? You see, this is where we need to be vetting and properly following up on some of these things as they relate to what happens in the DPP's office, both who they decide to charge and who they decide not to charge, because it is important. I have a lot of questions about how that decision even came about, to be quite frank and honest. Aisha, I don't know how she pronounces her name. What a hot mess. Aisha. Okay, Aisha. Mm-hmm. Okay. So interesting, to say the least. I remain woefully unconvinced that this was unintentional and this was accidental and you just didn't include it on the cover letter, which means, did you include their CVs? Because then that would say to me, well, yeah, okay, somebody in HR messed up. Somebody didn't review it. A law firm that has been around as long as Maples and Calder has been, with the level of HR professionals that they have, I can tell you this is a type of amateur mistake that I would not expect them to be making. So I have my suspicions that this was no unintentional error just related to the cover letter. But what we have is over a year ago, plus, people applying to Maples and not having applications considered. Here's what a concerned employee had to say about them. During my time with the firm, several expats were hired across various departments, positions that could have been opportunities for training and promoting. Caymanians like so-and-so, I'm sure they could have listed a whole bunch of people. Such opportunities would have also allowed younger Caymanians to fill more junior roles as they advance in their careers. I'm aware that the firm has been granted permits to employ work permit holders in these positions, a role that should be prioritized for Caymanians, as it is entry-level, trainable position, critical for their career development. Extending these opportunities to expats put Caymanians at a disadvantage in their own country. It also appears that when expat employees leave, the firm seeks to fill their positions with other work permit holders rather than being open to hiring qualified Caymanians. This practice seems to be the norm unless a Caymanian vacates the position, in which case it is filled by another Caymanian. Let's stick a pin. So in other words, when they get that very first work permit approved, even for entry-level positions, they continue to fill it with a work permit holder. That appears, according to this person's opinion, to be the norm. That is precisely why immigration, WORC, needs to be vetting these applications even more closely from the onset. If you know that that's the MO of the company, they're not even looking internally to see who they have that they could put in these positions, as well as external efforts to fill an existing work permit holder position, then that is a problem. And trust me, the issue here, folks, to be quite frank, is that if they know that no one is closely looking at how they are vetting their applications, their applicants, yeah, then of course that is going to be a problem. I'm just saying. We got an issue, and it's a big one apparently. Let's continue reading. Now, the Business Staffing Board, I hope to God y'all are paying attention, because anytime a company breaches this sort of thing, which they claim is accidental, y'all need to put every single subsequent application they submit through the ringer. That's how it should work. Anyone who is found to be in contravention of the law, and go and look at their history of administrative fines over the years, you have got to know that perhaps either, number one, they have the most incompetent HR department, who, in their words, able to make these types of amateurish mistakes, or, yeah, this is her? Oh, my tweetum. Okay, honey child. Did y'all just tell me she's a Caymanian? Or she just married to a Caymanian? Okay, then. If Aisha, or whatever the hell her name is able to make this kind of amateurish mistake, and her department, maybe y'all have the wrong person in the job, Caymanian or not. I don't care who she's married to. Perhaps you need to find another Caymanian who knows how to fill out a work permit application properly, amongst other HR functions. I'm just saying. There's the HR manager, I'm told. Yes, sir. What'd they say? It was inadvertently and unintentionally done. That means that you got people working in HR who aren't qualified to fill out a basic application form and include stuff in the letter, the cover letter that's supposed to be included. Sounds like you need to clean up your HR department, Mr. What is his name? Matthew Gardner. I'm just saying. Amateur mistake. Come see how much money you're paying her, $100,000 plus a year, no doubt. And she's making amateurish mistakes with her entire department. How big is the HR department of Maples? Somebody tell me how big it is these days. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, what a hot mess y'all are in. Let's continue. Somebody says they also replace work permit with work permits so that they don't lose their BSP, their business staffing plan position. In their business plan case, they have to present to BSP. Explain that one to me a little bit about the business staffing plan. I'm not quite sure I'm following that logic of that comment. All right, we're getting there. 13 staff members in HR, and they're making this kind of amateurish mistake, and you guys expect me to believe that? Come on now. Is that a joke? 13 people in HR. 13 people in HR. And they're making mistakes that are inadvertent and unintentional? Lord Jesus, please take the wheel. You can see that WRC didn't believe that, and that's why they took their behinds to court. Because I'm sure they would have written them an explanation. Oh, no. It's inadvertent. We didn't mean it, honey child. Yes, you did. You sure did. Now, you take it to court, it's out of the WORC's hands, then it's up to the DPP's office, and you see how those fools flounder all over the place. Okay, if that was me, they would have made it into a criminal capital case and be asking for murderation on poor little Caymanians. Don't listen. I'm not going to mince my words on this issue here this morning. Because the DPP's office operates in a silo, and sometimes I have to question the decisions that they make. Some of the people that they decide to charge with certain things, I'm looking at them with a side eye going, really? But you drop all the charges against Maples and Calder for all these other applications? We need an explanation for Mr. Simon, whatever the hell his name is, can't remember his last name, Davis, as to why those were dropped. Lots of issues here, but let's continue reading, honey child. To further illustrate the concerns, right? So some of this stuff is redacted. They've taken out names and stuff like that. That's fine. As a person's term limit approached, expat, she was offered a secondment in another Maples office. Her position in the Cayman office was kept open for her to return to the Cayman Islands as she continued to assist the Cayman team from another location. Oh, yeah. So they wouldn't fill her position with a Caymanian because basically they just moved her to Hong Kong, London, where else they have offices, in order to continue doing her work there. So technically, because she wasn't in the Cayman Islands, Cayman immigration can't do anything about it. But she continued to do the work from the Foreign Office. That's a loophole that might be difficult to close. But when they come back and try to apply for her again, the first question that WORC should have asked is, where was she working? Where has she been all this time? And if you saw continuity with the same organization, with the same company, and you didn't fill it with a Caymanian, I would have got that big denied stamp and hit boom, denied so quickly. What she come back Cayman for? Make her stay in the Foreign Office and fill that position with a Caymanian. Now, you Caymanians at Maples and Calder, I pray to God that you guys are paying attention this morning and that you are going to start giving WORC and enforcement the information that they need. Of course, they're scared. I know how it works, honey child, because you need your little job. Additionally, her position was most likely only advertised to the previous Jobs Cayman portal, as this approach appears to be commonly used to exploit loopholes in the system when applying for work permit renewals or applying for work permits for pre-selected candidates, because they knew that many Caymanians face difficulties with registration and applications through the portal, allowing the firm to justify its application on the grounds that no Caymanians applied for the position. Now, I was one of the advocates of this portal system, right? I'll be honest with you. And so what I want to say, though, is where should they be applying that people would see it? Well, it doesn't make any sense applying the compass because God knows nobody's not reading that. So where else would they be posting these applications? So there's a mandatory requirement for most positions to be advertised in the Cayman portal, the Cayman Jobs portal. Unfortunately, the issue there is the Cayman Jobs portal half the time not working or has issues or whatever. So we got to streamline this process. Some of them will advertise it on their websites, on LinkedIn and other places, but we really have to streamline this so that we can know for sure exactly, where Caymanians are applying for these positions. All right, in light of these concerns, I strongly urge the Business Staffing Plan Board to consider imposing a moratorium on work permits for Maples and Calder Cayman LLP until the firm demonstrates a genuine commitment to training and promoting Caymanians, particularly through their advertised but unimplemented training programs, specifically the blah, blah, blah program, because they have different programs. This situation seems indicative of a broader pattern where qualified Caymanians are overlooked in favor of expats under the pretext that there's no experienced Caymanians available. I've witnessed too many instances where Caymanians are sidelined to make room for work permit holders. While diversity in the workplace is important, it should not come at the expense of hardworking and ambitious Caymanians. As it stands, there has been several expats employed over the years, compared to only one Caymanian in a particular department who replaced another Caymanian, and the disparity raises serious concerns about fairness and equal opportunity. I believe that firms like Maples and Calder should be required to run annual recruitment for their advertised training programs and positions as a condition of employing work permit holders in these positions. This would ensure that Caymanians would have taken the necessary steps to become qualified as given the experience and opportunities they need to advance. In conclusion, I kindly request that under the Whistleblower Protection Act 2015, that a copy of this letter not be provided to Maples and Calder to further protect my employment. I also ask the board to ensure that Caymanians are given a fair chance to gain the experience they need to progress in their careers. Without your intervention, it is likely that firms will not provide these opportunities on their own. It is unlikely. Yes. Thank you for your attention. Signed, a concerned employee. Then there was evidence of a formal complaint that was advanced. I'm writing to express deep concerns regarding practices at Maples and Calder, Cayman LLP, the firm where I'm currently employed. For my own job security, I prefer to remain anonymous while shedding light on the issue that has recently impacted a former colleague and fellow Caymanian. Good for them for standing up for one of their own. They raised several issues here. People expressing a strong desire to be part of different training programs and to get into positions and earning qualifications, et cetera, and not being given the opportunity. Meanwhile, they had 6 expats in the position. Expat number 1, no longer with the firm. Expat number 2, no longer with the firm. Next one, spouse of a Caymanian currently employed. Expat number 3, relocation to the London office and still assisting the same team. Expat number 4, currently employed, and a Caymanian currently employed. Despite qualifications, high performance, and persistent efforts, these people are repeatedly informed that there was no upcoming openings in the respective department, even when vacancies arose due to resignations, and were told that there was no plans to fill them, and the firm could not say how long the positions would remain vacant. Ultimately, the prolonged delay in providing opportunities for these people to seek or to have career advancement forced them to seek employment elsewhere. It's particularly disheartening to see that after so-and-so resigned, the firm began recruiting for the same position the person wanted. And this person had eagerly pursued it for years. Wow. It's worth noting that if so-and-so had been employed as a so-and-so, salary would have been significantly lower than the recently advertised salary for the position of $115,000 US. But reliable information indicates that the firm's in-house recruiter approached expat candidates offering a competitive salary of up to $140,000 US, considerably more than the Caymanian currently earns at the firm. So we know that trick already, where they're willing to pay expats more money. Lots of information here. Again, the firm applying for a 3-year work permit for such and such a position, claiming that the person has 5 years of paralegal experience in litigation, corporate and hedge funds practices. However, her own LinkedIn profile reveals that her primary experience has been as an assistant vice president in global market operations at Bank of America, focusing on equity derivatives negotiation. This background, though impressive, seems quite different from the responsibilities of such and such a position, which raises concern about the relevance of her experience for the advertised position. Because you see, this would be the sort of thing that they'd be dissecting if you were Caymanian. So what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. Furthermore, so-and-so's LinkedIn profile indicates that her experience is limited to civil litigation role and several short-term internships. Her overall professional experience, totaling less than 5 years, has been primarily in her previous role as derivatives negotiator rather than as a fill in the blank. This calls into question whether she truly meets the minimum requirement of 5 years experience for the position. The tailored nature of her CV to fit the role further complicates the matter and will disadvantage Caymanian applicants. Academic qualifications, including a Bachelor of Law degrees with honors, Masters of Laws, are notable. They should not replace the practical minimum experience required for the role, unless in the case of a Caymanian wanting to train and advance into the role. This is also especially pertinent given that her predecessor, so-and-so, was promoted based on a recognized qualification and having several years of experience rather than advanced degrees. It also appears that the firm adjusts the minimum requirements based on the candidate's work permit status versus Caymanian status. And you're not supposed to be doing that. Okay. Cover letter supporting the applicant notes that only 2 Caymanians applied for the position. It omits to mention a particular candidate who at the time applied as well. My God. The reasons provided for not advancing the application despite qualifications seem insufficient, and this raises questions about the firm's commitment to providing fair opportunities to Caymanian candidates. Moreover, the firm reported such and such a program to promote Caymanians launched in 2020, but it appears inconsistent with the repeated information given dating back to 2021 and as recently as 2024, where there's no further developments in the program at all. And it is still has not officially launched, thus denying training opportunities once again to Caymanian. The inconsistency is troubling, particularly as the program is still advertised on the firm's website, while the firm is applying to hire work permit holders instead of extending training opportunities to Caymanians. In light of these concerns, I strongly urge WORC to launch a formal investigation into the hiring practice at Maples and Calder and request that the board reject the work permit application and re-advertise the position to provide Caymanian candidates with a fair opportunity to apply and advance in their careers. Wow. So, training programs claiming that they launched in 2020 And as of 2024, they're not off the ground yet. What the hell am I hearing? Oh, Maples, what do you say? Inadvertent and accidentally? Well, you seem to be doing a lot of ish inadvertently and accidentally. Mallory says, it's not just Maples, though. This is prevalent in every industry. Yes, of course. But we're talking about Maples and Calder because they were just fined $8,000, a drop in the bucket. So that is why I'm speaking about them today, because I've been meaning to get to this story from Friday and have not yet had an opportunity to do so. So every single company that breaches the laws can be highlighted in a similar fashion, especially once they have a conviction under their belt. Okay. I'm just saying. Absolutely ridiculous behavior. So the evidence is quite interesting. And I tell you, it's not just at the support staff level. Even lawyers over the years have had issues with Maples and Calder. And like I said, some of them I know from firsthand experience because I previously worked there myself. I remember that there was a particular attorney who was with the organization, very, very bright Caymanian. And I heard one day one of the senior partners making fun of this particular Caymanian attorney. Oh, he up in his office sleeping and this and that. What they neglected to say in their disparaging remarks and their cackling session is that this Caymanian actually had a known medical problem and they were taking medication. So the medication forced them to have to take small naps during the day. But that did not mean that that Caymanian was not pulling his billable hours and staying there until all hours of the night and day to make up for that. These people. So here's another one. Re-advertising a position on LinkedIn and the firm's website, maintaining the requirements for 5 years of experience, despite the fact that the firm was willing to hire so-and-so who had less experience than the stated minimum. The role has remained open from summer of 2024, and it was vacant long before that when so-and-so vacated the role. If the business needs for an experienced person was truly pressing, it would have raised questions as to why the firm did not utilize this time to train a qualified Caymanian. And they keep reapplying for the positions. The firms are, if the firm was genuinely committed to training and developing Caymanians, it would make sense to hire a Caymanian capable of growing in the role rather than leaving the position unfilled. The choice reinforces that the firm's reluctance to invest in Caymanian talent. Maples, y'all need to do better. Surely. Someone says Maples also gets away with murder in the IT department. They have over 50 IT staff members under the special economic zone company called Maples and Calder Technologies. No permits needed, just have them there under SEZC. Because remember now, SEZC, this economic zone, allows for people to go in there and have no work permit requirements. They get all kind of preferential treatment. So my question then is this: why hasn't that loophole been closed? Seriously. They are a company that we are very well aware of. The fact that they clearly have a local presence here. The SEZC was not designed for local operated companies to take advantage of such loopholes. Why do they have their tech company, which is the staff basically for the IT department, going through the special economic zone? Somebody please explain that to me. Because that seems like an obvious way to really take advantage of the system. But you see, smart people, they think they're smart, and people of financial means, and when they can jump up and tell you about which politicians they have in their back pocket, will always seek to take advantage of the system. Like, come on. This is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous. They should not be allowed to set up this company in the economic zone if their employees actually work for the Cayman company. So if those 50 expat IT staff members provide services, any service for Maples and Calder here in Cayman, they should not be in the economic zone. Government, please pay attention, because y'all need to close some loopholes. And I mean, let's do it right away. Michael Miles? Where's Michael Miles this morning? Is he in class? Because, Michael, while you still up in your feelings during the election, about what happened during the election, you somehow blaming CMR, only God knows what. Bobo, you won. Get over it. Find yourself over to the CMR crew, because we got almost 600 people on here this morning. I saw somebody sent me yesterday, you and Radio Cayman talking about God knows what, with 7 people watching you. Come to where the people are, meet the people where they are, because we have some information for you. Okay? Put your feelings aside. You're running a country. This is not time for thin skin and feelings. This is time to steer good ship Cayman back in the right direction. And that is what you and I are on the same pathway when it comes to that, if that's what you're about. And listen, there's no time for Caymanians to be divided amongst ourselves when we're going up against the likes of organizations like Maples and Calder and others, Walkers, I don't care who it is. Because as far as I'm concerned, no one is better than the next. If they know they can get away with it, if they know that they can take advantage of loopholes in the system, they will. Oh, somebody said Aisha used to be married to Caymanian. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Hot mess. A law firm making those types of inadvertent oversights is extremely concerning and disconcerting. Should clients be concerned that these same types of oversights in the delivery of services? That's why I don't believe them, because Maples and Calder is very, very meticulous. I'm just saying, like I told y'all, I work there, so I should know. Okay. So stop your lies now, Maples. I don't believe you. You might have been able to fool good old Simon over the DPP's office, but I don't believe you. Morning, Sandy. I have a problem with WRC portal from the start, as you shouldn't have to sign up to see the jobs available. Maples should have been fined much more as a result of the type of company they have, a higher duty of accountability. And they have more means as well. But I tell you what, if WORC requires the government to mandate what the fines are going to be, then by all means, let us know. Okay. What a hot mess. This person says that they have to show how many Caymanians and expats they have employed. And so this is why, again, they're never really fully updating and adjusting the numbers accordingly. No mess. WRC requires a certain percentage to be Caymanian, so they're given a BSP position. So each work permit holder has a BSP number. Think of it as a seat at the table reserved for work permit holder. So if they fill the seat with a Caymanian, they will lose the BSP number, and that will now become a position for a Caymanian. That's how it was explained to me. I like the portal, but it can be utilized better. Wow. Damn. Wow. Darlene says, Sandy, call WRC Live right now. Find out how they can make such a thing happen. Well, listen, I'm not really so convinced that WRC are the ones that we need to really be looking at closely here. I think who we need to be looking at is that DPP's office. I'm just saying, not for nothing, but they are the ones who, in all honesty, decided to drop the majority of the charges. And I would like to know on what basis. Listen, WRC can only prepare the file and hand it over to the DPP's office. The DPP office, they have the baton from there until the end. If they had gotten all 12 convictions, you can believe the fine would have been more than the $8,000 then, you see? That also makes a little bit more sense. Samantha, good morning, darling, says Cayman Finance launches graduate training program to boost career pathways for Caymanians. Well, that's lovely. But I've also, over the years, I'm talking about very, very recently, heard a lot of complaints about Cayman Finance as well, holding down Caymanians. So let's not get started on them this morning, Sam, because that's a whole other can of worms that if I open that, I might be here all day on the show. But we can come to all of them. More people coming forward said, oh, they got history to give. Morning, honey child. Let me see here now. Someone says, oh, Lord Jesus. I don't know who Aisha Bawden is, but I'll let y'all read this comment for yourselves so that you can come to your own conclusions about people's experiences with her. Like I said, I don't know the woman from the Man on the Moon, but someone has said that she leaves a lot to be desired with their own choice of words. Her tyranny spans far back as her employment at Kirk office, then carried on to when she was at Maples. Kirk Market, my apologies. I can speak to it. I was one of her victims. By the way, not for nothing, but I did hear that she worked at Kirk Market and somewhere else, did not have an impressive track record at either of those establishments, with allegations of even how she left there, and yet she continued to just roll along and get all these positions. So this person says, I was one of her victims, but I feared better than the others she pushed out, and I didn't back down. She's one of the token Caymanians who would never enjoy employment in this country, especially, and in light of her behavior as a human resource professional. Talk to people who previously reported to her, like Miss Emelita Crifford, Tendai, what's the last name? Whatever that last name is. Dogs were treated better. Wow. And that's who Maples has in charge of HR? Well, then nothing surprises me. This person says murderation, stone cold dead, honey chow. Don't delete your comments. Whenever y'all delete your comments, I got a perfect emoji for it. It says, God just saw what you deleted. That's what I send you right now. Put it back, honey chow. Watch me and them. Where's my little emoji? God saw what you deleted. Don't be afraid. Now is your opportunity to speak up and speak loud. Oh, okay. All right, let me see here now. So somebody reminds us that says an important point in this discussion is that all government press releases go through CIG Communications Hub, which falls under the Cabinet Office for vetting. So that explains it. Caymanians. have a little backbone, even if you work in the civil service. Have some backbone, huh? The cabinet office. Okay. Aisha Bodden may have Cayman status by now, but she's not originally from Cayman. She's either American or Canadian. Oh, okay. Good morning, Sandra. Think back, cast your memory back about 7 to 10 years ago. What legal company was it that was found with a number of, I think, 6 uncertified attorneys on their staff that disappeared overnight from our shores? I can't say that I remember, but I can certainly ask the legal fraternity. Somebody in the legal fraternity may remember that one. I don't remember. Okay, honey chill. Oh, she's Canadian. Oh, what do we say? The Maple Leaf Mafia. Oh, Jesus, peace. Oh my God. Wow. Y'all seem to know her well. Oh. Oh my God. Someone says if you had someone from EAP was on here, she would confirm, they would confirm that these law firms are the most toxic places to work. The mental health of persons working there is terrible. Someone says, yes, Aisha is really something else, vindictive and malicious. Wow. And Maples has no clue about this, or that's the kind of people that they want heading up the HR department? I mean, I got to wait till 9:28 and 30 seconds to really tell you some of the things that people are calling this woman. Not nice. Here, this one. I agree with that commenter. Aisha is a B. She's not a Caymanian. She's a paper Caymanian. She told me once that I served the firm better in the position I was in, and I couldn't advance. Bitter B. She is Canadian. Oh, Maple Leaf Mafia. Tendai worked at Maples as HR under Aisha. Oh, Cayman Finance CEO Steve McIntosh and Michael Miles are best friends. Oh, Jesus Christ, help us. Lord Jesus, take the wheel. This person says press releases don't go through CIG. I send whatever I want out. But are you considered part of core government? Hot mess. Aisha is an American. Y'all can't decide if she's American or Canadian now, who is married to one of the Boddens from Island Paving. She used to work at Kirk's as she hates Caymanians, but she likes to marry the men. What does KFP stand for? I don't know what KFP stands. Oh, she likes Caymanian men, huh? Y'all must have working with something else that's murderation. What to heat 9:26, Lord Jesus, 9:30. Hurry up and come now. Lord Jesus, take the wheel. Good morning, Mr. Shalette. Miss Marjorie says, good news. Michael Miles was on Radio Cayman yesterday. All Elvis McKeeva said his music was a sweet tune to the ear. Michael going to clean up. Well, okay. Yes, I heard he was over there. Let's see how many people watched him. Just out of curiosity. Okay, Radio Cayman. 24 hours later. Yesterday's show. Okay, so he reached a total of hold on, honey child. Yesterday. What kind of order is this thing in? Yesterday. Why is it? Oh, 609 views. Oh, yes, Marjorie. 609 views. He's reaching so many people. Which 609 of you were watching? I'm not going to belabor the point. 9:28. We're off of radio now, I believe. Okay. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds. And then I'm going to click that button. Yeah, we should be off now. Let me disconnect from radio because y'all really need to come into Jesus moment. Wow now. Really. Let me try to bring the point home. Okay. This is not the time for our elected officials or civil servants or anybody else to not find their spinal cord, which is attached to your backbone. I guess it's all part of the same thing. We have got to start paying attention and very close attention to what these companies are doing. Yes, they have some training programs. You have to give the devil his credit. They do have some training programs in place, but it is not enough. Okay? Those are the token situations. Let me go to their website, Maples Group. All of the things that I'm hearing from and about Maples right now is giving me extreme concern that not much has changed since I left there 20-something years ago. And I was a troublemaker then, blacklisting me. And when I go through their group of professionals, I'm sorry, but I don't see a whole lot of Caymanian faces. And I should be seeing more. 800, almost 900 people, including their global offices. How many of those individuals are actually Caymanians? Good morning, caller.
Pleasant good morning.
Good morning.
To beautiful people. How are you?
Not bad. How are you?
All right. Give thanks, you know.
Yes, sir.
These things have been happening a long time now.
Yes, yes.
Long time.
It's a crying
Long
shame.
time. And it's not only in corporate, it's across the board.
Yes.
From the RCIPS right down to the average man on the construction site. It's all across the board.
Mm-hmm.
When you travel and you go to other countries, your experience starts with the people that you see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go to Jamaica, it's the same thing. Jamaican experience from you get off the plane to when you're leaving, it's different here.
Mm-hmm. It's sad.
I heard a gentleman said one time on your talk show, can't remember his name, but Caymanian gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget that. He said, these people love Cayman. They don't love Caymanians. All right.
What a shame, huh? What a shame. Thank you, my dear. And let me also make the point. They don't have to love Caymanians, but they have to follow the law, not just when they feel like it, but they should have to follow it at all times. Okay? Come now. This law firm started, and those early expats were able to become literally millionaires on the backs of the financial services industry here in the Cayman Islands. And I'm not saying that they've not played their role and they've not made contributions, of course, right? This is your adopted home. But if you cannot put the Caymanian people first and foremost, I think we're going to have some major problems. And this continues to be an ongoing conversation. As the caller said, this is not just today. I was at Maples over 20 years ago, and they were getting administrative fines from them. From then. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra, and thank you. Thank you very, very much again for standing up for our people and for helping to expose the unethical behavior that Caymanians have been receiving. Like you said, and your caller said before, this isn't happening now. When I started the civil service in 1983, the older gentlemen that I worked with, if you looked at a Caymanian, or if you spoke to a Caymanian role, or you tried to do that, the men that I worked with, James, you know about it? Mr. Norman Bodden, Captain Charles Colonel. I'm not telling you they didn't have their faults because we're human and we all have made mistakes. But I'm telling you, those people didn't play. If you were not Caymanian and if you thought you could come here and run over a Caymanian, they let you know right now you were catching a flight. Mm-hmm. People like Mr. Orman Panton, let me tell you something. If you were married to a foreign national, like a Jamaican or anybody, and they were giving you problems here with your marriage and you weren't doing for your children, Mr. Orman, then they called you in, they told you plain and straight. If you're not going to be a productive citizen, if you're not going to be a person that respects and have character and going to build this country, you don't deserve to be here. It was time for you to get on a flight. And that's the kind of young politicians that we need. The new group that we need, I hope they're listening to me this morning. This starts with cleaning up the civil service from the very beginning, from the very top straight to the bottom. Because if you do not have control of your house, meaning if you cannot control your country and your government, okay, does not show ethical behavior that is seen around the world, you cannot build a world-class civil service. Mm-hmm. I am a victim of bullying. I'm a victim of sexual assault. But I'm also a civil servant that gave back so much to my country. And when you have to talk continuously, don't go into the ministries, don't go into the offices and see and evaluate complaints. And we don't have a governor that actually assembles a team that wants to get to the bottom of this and wants to make our country better. Along with governments that we go in, it will never become, because as long as the private sector sees that the government is not making ethical changes, are not addressing the unethical behavior, the fraternization and sexual fraternization within the borders, it's never going to be better. Can you imagine when I tell you I know of women selling naturalization for $1,000? I know what I'm talking about because it happened to be within family members that I knew. When I tell you of staff members, fraternization, alleged rumors with many other men and so forth inside the civil. It's not a good sight. When you have people calling you and telling you that this young woman has been scamming people and has been paying people and been taking their money and not giving back, all of that in the civil service said, you're not of good character and you should not have a job. And I'm sorry, you cannot steal from the civil service and think you're going to go and scotch-free. No, you're going to be prosecuted. But we have a system where we have a bias system where it's good for one goose, but it's not good for the gander. And until we make serious change, we have a new government, and I'm hoping that a lot of this is on their agenda, and I'm hoping that they're hearing me this morning, because this is Lisa L. Prendergast. If you know what's good for us to clean this up, it starts from the top and also sitting. Assemble a board to hear about the complaints. Assemble a board to address the matters, and then we can go from there. Because when we set it up and we say enough is enough there, the private sector is going to have to clean up. Because when those people start, let them know that whistleblowers can go. Let me tell you how I would like to address this. I would like our governor to give amnesty to civil servants for 3 days. Call a room in the Westin or any one of the schools. Give civil servants without victimization to come and talk. Let us open up and talk. I will be there, the first one on the platform. And I tell you, when I finish with the recordings, even the recordings that I have on my telephone, and actually a recorder of some of the behavior that I went through, the names I was being called, motherfucker, son of a bitch, I am no good. I am this. I am that, a seasoned and well, an elderly civil servant. You would not believe the behavior. And when you went to HR, they were told by politicians not to deal with it, and then turn around and twisted the conversation and then told a lie on me. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm ready. I'm ready because I got, like I tell you, I have conversations recording of the behavior of some of these women, and I'm ready. I am absolutely ready. I was told to even go to the graveyard and ask my dead mother 7 months after burying her. which side I wanted to be on. So let me tell you, when I tell you my book is ready, it is ready. And I know that I am not the only civil servant. There are many of us crying in silence, in a corner. Okay, I spoke to a young lady that works in cabinet. I won't call her name for any kind of victimization. And she's very senior there because she also, well, I wouldn't say that because if I say that, then they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But like she said to me, she says, there's so much corruption. There is so much. And she says, I know you have suffered, Lisa. She said, I know. And just said, I know you were betrayed because you were taken from your job as a secondment. And rather than returning you there, they treated you like a dog, but yet they knew how to call you for everything under the book. So when I tell you, Sandra, we need to clean up our country. First, our government needs to make sure that, like what God says, put your house in order. Sandra, if you don't put your house in order, you will have problems, whether it's your child, your husband, your finances, or your life. So we need a government that's going to put our country in order and our people to come first. And that means a message to the billionaires. I am so glad about the Britannia settlement because we need to have these billionaires understand this country was built on the backs of our ancestors and the people that went to sea and our mothers that stayed behind, like mine, to raise her children and build homes. And we need to have Caymanians to come out and talk. We need 3 days of amnesty to whistle blow. Let our governor put us in that spot and let the Caymanians then be started. Get that so it can be cleaned up and we can address the issues and put regulations and laws in place. Once that is done, the private sector will see we are not going to take it anymore. And that is how we're going to clean up our country. Thank you, Sandra, and have a great day and good one. And thank you again.
Thank you so much, my dear. Jasane says, or Jasan, not quite sure, sorry if I mispronounced it, said, and not one Caymanian equity partner. So as you can see, folks, I've been scrolling through the list of the people there, and it's difficult. It is most challenging to see anyone that we know. Now, of course, some of them going to be, Caymanian status holders because they've been here long enough in their position. And of course, for the purposes of WORC, we know that they count. But when I'm really looking to see Caymanians in here, boy, I am struggling. I am looking hard and I'm having a hard time. I'm just saying, that looks like one, Joni Ebanks. Yes, that's Joni. She's Caymanian. But when you're not an equity partner, y'all know what that means. You actually pay money to get into the partnership. So you pay them. Oh, Jesus Christ. What are you saying? Yes. And of course, so many of these Caymanians are out there flaunting around and pretending, oh, I'm a partner at Maples. Well, when you got paid for something, that's like me having to pay for a husband. Is that really a husband? No. I mean, that's my definition of one anyway, if I got paid for it. I'm just saying. How many of you Caymanians are equity partners? Is it true that there still isn't any? And all of you are paying to join the partnership? Wow. What a hot mess. See one little Caymanian face there, Kevin Solomon. What a mess. Kimberly Robinson, she looked like she could be. Leroy Bodden, he's a vice president. Over 300 employees. They got Letitia Solomon, Lisa Christian, she's a vice president. Hot mess. Oh, she's so pretty. I've met Louise Cowley. She's very pretty and nice. Yeah, what a mess. Listen, I don't have any issues with all of these lovely people coming from Canada, the UK, and whatever. But this is called the Cayman Islands. And so Caymanians get first dibs, right? Nothing wrong with that. Don't try to come at me talking about I'm xenophobic. Somebody sent me a comment by somebody. What the hell the name was again? Hold on one second. That made a comment about, oh, don't Caymanians have to go elsewhere to work? Someday Mar McDonald. So Caymanians now work in other countries every day. Y'all talk about expats. I used to work with a lot of Caymanians. Yes, you have a few good ones, but most is so lazy. So yes, they're going to get people who really need the work. Most Caymanians are lazy. Come out of here, son. Come out of here. I don't know where you were finding them from, but most Caymanians are not lazy. And let me be very, very clear. I don't cloak up no lazy Caymanians. If they're not qualified and they're lazy, I give them hell, as we should, because those are the bitches who make us all look bad. Let me be very, very clear. The other day, I was commenting on a comment that said, oh, we should have minimum requirements for, what do you call it now? For, companies should have minimum requirements for who they can hire. And I said, hold on, I'm not necessarily in favor of that. And who was one of the people commenting in the comment section? Talking about, yeah, this is what we need. Jaron. I said, but Jesus Christ. Jaron Carter said, yes, put me on the team of people who are going to be vetting. Okay, he's one of the examples of Caymanians who are lazy and don't want to work and giving us all a bad name. That's not the Caymanians I talking about, Let's take a caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, dear. How are you?
Not bad, honey child. How you doing?
I'm right here, so listening. Come in late, but I come in to catch the sweetest part.
Aye.
Because let me tell you, we got it to do in our little country, our little island. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And it's time the Caymanians stop with this Cayman kindness and being stamped on, and the people don't care. And the first time that we speak out, all you hear, where's the Cayman kindness? Where is your kindness? Where is your behavior? Listen, I see people that there and they have PR. Caymanians there that train them. They're in position that Caymanians have to show them what to do. Tell me what sense that make. Listen, they say so when Caymanians get position, then they don't take care of it. Well, I'd rather my own be stamping on me at least 3 days. Because the same foreigners is stamping on me. So what's the difference? What is the difference? It better they getting the money. It's staying in the country. Because, baby, I see these on jets. Some of them never own one thing in America. Nowhere else, Africa, all about. And they come Caymanian and turn billionaires. And then they leave. They pack up their stuff and they go back to where they come from. It's not just the Jamaicans. I tell people this all the time. Jamaicans will spend in Cayman. Most other nationalities do not. They send out their money and they send people to buy what they want, bring it back. They hardly spend. That is how your economy go down. Because what happens is if all the money is going out, then we have an issue. Right? And this is where we have to pay attention. So sometimes when they cussing, the Jamaicans, everybody got their bad and they good and different. But guess what? If you go back when we were young, you know who helped us build that island? Jamaicans. When mosquito were killing cow. You never see all of these people. And when storm comes, where are they to be found? They are gone. The cars is parked all in the middle of the road. Then they come out to look for the car 2 hours already, Like they tell you to put it up in the garage and then they coming back. When it all settled and it doesn't settle, we Caymanians need to stand up. No talk. Do. We need to do. And we need to hold those accountable. Because the problem is, if the government can do it, the private sector is saying, why can I not do it? Because the first thing they're going to find a chapter status, this and that. Why government don't employ their owner, don't do this. So why do they have to? So they got government by the tail because they know the rules, they know the statutes, they know everything. A lot of them is law and they have degrees and don't study. So that when time comes, they can defend themselves.
Yes.
That's why sometimes We don't see what's going on, but it's email that is passed and say, well, look at, if you carry me, yeah, I don't carry you. Yeah. So the government do not want to be embarrassed. So what they do, they drop some of the charges or they do this and that. We need to stop. They need to be held accountable. And I mean accountable because it starts with our own government. If our own government do not protect us, who is going to protect us? They protect who they want and they hold against the person that, like me, that would speak up. Oh, I would get a hard time with anything. Somebody would have that same problem, but because they're quiet, they kick them in the way they want to kick them, they will get through. It happens. I've known it. I've called it out. But this is a problem. And we have those that just hate us as Cayman. We're the most hated species. I got called a species because I don't know if humans. We're hated everywhere. Looking for crime happen. The first thing they say, oh, Cayman. But if it's another nationality, you never see nobody commit. That's why we have to stand up for Caymanian, regardless of what they are. They are people, right? Because every other person stand up for their persons. And we got to do better. And the government have to do better. Because they are the leaders. And we should be the followers. We shouldn't be here having to cry out. We should have been taken care of. So we, as a nation, island, we got to get together. And I thank you for CMR, voice for the people, that we could speak. Because this is the honest place. We have been cowed down for too many years. Nowhere to speak. Can you imagine? That's what they want. They want us to be quiet, like a donkey. You're kicking me, move. I mean, what does he sit down? We're not mules. We're humans. We are God's greatest creation on earth. So that's my 2 cents today.
Thank you, my dear.
Next thing, I think they need to put Caymanians in positions. They will not do it. They got all of these foreigners with PR.
Yeah.
That Caymanians can do the job.
Yeah.
We need to get them
and
up, 'cause that's what they
unfortunately,
do.
we do have another caller, but unfortunately, when they put us in positions, they put the Caymanians who will sell us out quicker than the foreigners. But that's another discussion. But thank you so much.
Well, guess what? I know some that their foreign friends committed crimes, right, in the same Cayman Islands, and they hire them right back in the government. Okay? Tell me how that makes sense. But no, they can't hire Caymanian. They must stay out there, right?
Thank you, my dear.
Crime, but that's their country.
All right. We got another caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Sandra. Boy, you hot on my topic today. Morning. How you doing?
Not bad. Not bad. How you doing?
Great. Please give Miss Joyce a kaboom because she speaks from one of the valves in my heart. That Naples and Calder, they're going to love my book coming out in September. I got him all over it. But all the money laundering and stuff that went through that office that I was involved in, let me tell you, they are a horrible firm. I know someone very close to me that they treated so horribly on the job, a kind-hearted Caymanian person, that she had to end up having a hysterectomy from all the stress they put her under, not able to have a child in her life. You imagine that? They're an evil firm. The government needs to start retracting their licenses, start to shutting them down, doing them what they do people when they get one complaint from anonymous complaint. Well, you're not going to anonymous complaints on the airwaves today. You got a plethora of people saying what they can say about a law firm that gets away with murder pretty much. I mean, look at what they can do in this country, and a carpet still rolled out to them, and they can keep doing it. Nothing is being done to them, and this needs to stop now. Our people need to stop being disenfranchised and ostracized in this country by these firms that come here and make $1 million every day in profits. That's wrong. We do not deserve this. Our people do not deserve this. We don't deserve those quality of firms in this country. They need shut down, leave. We need to encourage good firms to come here that will adapt to our country, adapt to our culture, adapt to our people, respect us, train us, and give us jobs. But we don't have nobody with the balls out there to do it. Not one government member of the government we've elected has the balls to go after that law firm because they got a Thor hammer. And the minute you call them out, they come after you. They didn't come after me. I really don't care. I don't give a shit. Come sue me for what I gotta say, or wait for my book come out in September and then try to sue me then, because you can't tell me not truth. Kind of book is nonfiction. I wrote a nonfiction book, so let them go and file their lawsuit, and I'll come with my counterclaim. Right? Can we not counterclaim on their ass? We sure as hell can. Anyway, Sandra, I'm so glad that you laid them down today. Thank you for laying them down today. They needed this, and the rest of them out there needed as well. All right,
I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right, so we had a few callers trying to call in, 9362626. Feel free to give us a call back. There's one. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Sandra. There's something quickly I wanted to share with you. After receiving in March on your show, I received 3 phone calls from young women that worked in law firms. And they said to me, the way that these people speak and the profanity that some of these partners and lawyers speak, to me, they wondered why we're not doing more drug testing, because obviously they're on something. So I want to put that out to you this morning and say, yes, our drug department and our drug officers, the ones that we had back then, were really stern. There were a lot of mixed Caymanians and Jamaican nationals there, a lawyer Brady and Brown and quite a few other detectives we had. But that's what needs to happen as well, because of some of these people that called me said these people can't be in their normal senses. They walk in the morning and first thing they're saying to you, you know, where the F is this and get this effing thing and get this stuff, whatever. And I'm saying,
they can try it. They can try it.
Yeah.
But as Caymanians, I can tell you one thing.
To me, telling me I'm calling in and standing up for Caymanians. So they said this is something that they believe needs to happen, where random drug testing needs to go into these law firms and let these people know. I know, you know, they got all of the human rights, you got the infringement of all kind of rights and everything else. But the bottom line is people are suffering in our country. And I just wanted to put that out there for you this morning as well.
All right, dear. Thank you so much. All right, another caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning. I love to hear Joyson when she come on. Because whenever she come on, she speak the cold, hard truth. Although I don't feel like my own self, because I don't like some of my own, but she's speaking the truth. When mosquito almost kill us, breadfruit sword, we like them in pond to keep away mosquito. Joyson, speak the truth. But I don't like some of my own. I don't even like myself sometimes when I hear some of her behavior, really. But Joyson, you need to give her a platform for herself.
Well, she can come and do her own show anytime she's ready. Anytime she's ready.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, my dear.
When she come on. Oh, yeah. I love you, Joyson.
Okay, thanks, dear. All right. Thank you, darling.
Bye.
So let's read this other comment. Good morning, Power Liking. Says all these companies are the same. Treat Caymanians like nobody. We need to call them out. What this person says, what Aisha should explain is why she got rid of so many Caymanians at Intertrust. Oh, she was there too? Was she fired and walked out of the building like a thief? Then even went on to practice some kind of witchcraft, reading BS, and crazy yoga practice when she couldn't get a job. Was kicking about the government as a consultant and then self-employed until Maples picked her up. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that Maples was into picking up such undesirables. Interesting. Like I said, Aisha Bodden is one of the many foreign tyrants hiding behind Cayman status, expected to protect and/or enhance Caymanian employment. Maples knew what they were doing in hiring her. Her business practices are so as unscrupulous as theirs. And then they sent along her speed reading thing here. Speed readings? Intuitive speed readings. What the hell is speed reading? Okay, intuitive reader, Aisha Bodden. So she couldn't do anything between HR jobs until Maples picked her up. What's an intuitive reader? What is she? What I don't know. Is that some like I don't know what you're reading. But let me read now that we're off air. What other people had to say about her. This one says, I agree with that commenter. Aisha is a bitch. She's not a Caymanian. She's a paper Caymanian. She told me once that I served the firm better in the position I was in and I couldn't advance. Bitter bitch. She's a Canadian. Nothing like a bitter bitch. I'm just saying. What a hot mess. Wow, witchcraft. She better read her Bible. I mean, I don't know. This is the hooligan Aisha Bodden. Like I said, I don't know this woman, but I've not had a single person say anything complimentary about her this morning. So, wow, Maples and Calder, y'all got a problem. Who is this woman? She couldn't even get a job after they walked her out of Intertrust, and she was going on there at Intertrust with the same foolishness? Wow. Wow is right, Miss Dorothy. I'm sitting here in a state of shock. Check the number of foreigners at SEMA, especially Africans and Indians. Lord Jesus. They will do drug testing, but only for the real Caymanians. You think they're going to do it for a partner? Which clearly they need to, after we've seen some of the shit that their partners do. Let me see what else we got in terms of comments. This person has some interesting commentary here. Check this out. FYI, 90% of these nationalities have never had a visa to travel to America or had license, much less ever owned a car until Cayman showed them what life is all about. After, they want to discriminate against the very people of the country they want to be accepted and adopted by. Another area government seriously needs to look about capturing fees from is by adding a percentage, regardless of the amount being remitted, on all funds leaving the Cayman Islands via remittance services. Other than the conventional bank, Cayman is one of the jurisdictions that have billions leaving here every year. Those bank accounts already pay government bank fees deducted, but at 1.5% to 2% in all funds leaving through Western Union kind of businesses, government should collect on, as that is a missed opportunity to collect fees that could supplement these islands and government. I will certainly be sending this to the government of the day. Worth looking into for sure. Maybe reading in school to students. I'm not so sure it's that kind of reading. John Jane says Walker's is the same. Like I said, I doubt there's very little difference between any of these companies. Walker's, Maples, Intertrust, all of them cut from the same ridiculous cloth. El Rey says, how much does the government make from Maples for business licenses and work permit fees? Well, not as much as they could be, because they have their IT department going through the economic zone, and government is not making very much money off the economic zone. So that is a gap that needs to be closed so they can get some more money for those 51 work permits over there too. Sure. I saw even an African agriculture yesterday just collecting papers for animal feed. Unless he's married to Caymanian, could they not get a Caymanian to fill the post? Probably married to some fool Caymanian, Miss Marjorie. You sitting there. We got enough of them around the place. An old saying that goes like this for these two-faced PR holders who fat and foul only for them to turn around and peck at you or bite you. Now, one of the other things that I want this government to do, and this is very, very important now, Michael Miles. Michael, are you there? I want you to pay attention now. I'm going to make sure I clip this so that you can get the message, okay? Michael, one of the ways in which they take advantage of Caymanians is these firms put pressure on Caymanians to give letters of recommendations to their co-workers, sometimes even their bosses, that are used for the purposes of getting PR, residency or status or whatever. You've got to close that gap, okay? No letter of recommendation should come from a Caymanian that works with any of these people, because they're putting them under, I feel like I've got something in my eye. They're putting them under undue pressure in order to solicit those letters And then once they get the respective permanent residency or status, then they treat them. Got an eyelash or something right in my. Then they treat them horribly. And the Caymanians often reach out saying, I felt coerced to do this. I felt like I didn't have a choice. And now that they've got the low position, they acting the fool. So close that loophole. No Caymanian, especially if you work. I mean, definitely if you work with the organization, should be able to provide a reference letter. You should not rely on those because that's undue influence. You can see how easily that could be done. Natasha says, kaboom, read the reference letters. That needs to stop. You have a lot of changes to make, but that's an easy one. Let's stop that from now. Dion says, so true. I know that firsthand. They does. This person says, good morning, Sandy. Look at Hotel Indigo and Seafire, pure Indians. And the minute they came on, they went to Jamaica and got visas. How ridiculous is this? Just saying they get everything once they hit Cayman soil. Another commenter says, re-remittance and banks, the banks are completely against government monitoring this because a significant amount of their money revenue is made through remittance. Interesting. Someone said they just started listening. The reality is our government has historically been complacent. I know this for a fact, and made this situation continue. As Ian Paget Brown said, penalize one, just one, and it will send a message. He said that back in 2010. Well, not when you're penalizing them with only $8,000. If you had slapped them with 800,000, 80,000, 100,000, maybe that would have been more impactful. You don't send the correct message when you have the DPP's office dropping all the damn charges. Not for nothing, but that ain't the right message. What partners have said over the years is there's no expats on the Immigration and Work Permit Board, all Caymanians. They issue the PR status and work permits. Why the fuck would we have expats on work permit on immigrant? Okay, that's what a partner is saying. They got any sense? When I try to find a job after an issue with folks, Rick Finley, who's Rick Finley, told his staff, this is what we do with applications from so-and-so for a job, and proceed to shred the application. I was told I would never work in Cayman again. And this is a well-qualified Caymanian attorney. And this is what they do. They push us out. Well, I'm proof positive here today, honey child, that when you take Caymanians and you ostracize them, you don't give them articles, you push them out the door because yes, they're vocal. Yes, they want to be, part of the management of their own country, as they have a right and an obligation to do. And you push them out the door. I'm proof in the damn pudding, in the cassava cake, that what you're going to do is you're going to create people who you cannot fool. I'm nobody's fool. And I speak for myself and countless others when I say from firsthand experience, I know the shenanigans that Maples has carried on for many, many years. I thought they had made improvements, maybe under Paul, what Paul's last name was again. They made some temporary improvements. He was, Jamaican, British mix up. What was Paul Lumsden? But now he gone. They seem to be reverting back to the same bullshit all over again. Maples, Walkers, Intertrust, every single one of your organizations out there know that I'm keeping an eye on y'all. I have nothing against you because I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So I thank you for not giving me those opportunities and for pushing me in the direction so I can end up where I am today, being a voice for many. Thank you very, very much. But you're not going to continue to engage in bad behavior and then want to use excuses about, it was a mistake, it was inadvertently done and accidentally done. I'm on to you, fools. And I see you for who you are. So I'm going to make a suggestion. You look closely at your HR manager and her team of incompetent people who can't fill out not one, but multiple applications correctly. And you fix it. If this was really inadvertently done, somebody's neck would have been on the chopping block, especially if she was Caymanian. You would have fired her. So she's brought a lot of heat on you guys through the public exposure. So I suggest you take a close look at firing this Aisha woman. She's blame her for it. She's head of department. So what you should do, because like I said, if she was a Caymanian, she would have been out the door already, making you guys look bad for exposing your dirty ways. So perhaps you need to hold her responsible. I don't want you firing some little administrative Caymanian in the HR department, Naina, because I'm watching you and I will hear about it. Accountability. We call for accountability all the time. Last week, we're calling one of our own who allowed a child to be sexually assaulted on her watch. She's got to go. The board needs to fire her. And I'm calling on Maples and Calder this morning. I don't give two shits who she was married to, if she's a Cayman status holder. If what you say is true, which is you're claiming that this was a mistake, those are not the kind of mistakes that Maples and Calder should be doing after being in business for 50-something years at the HR level. So maybe you need to go have a serious conversation with Aisha today about this inadvertent and unintentional error. Jim says they won't fire her. Tragically, some things don't and won't change. Well, I'm calling for accountability. Isn't this what we all want? Greater accountability? Okay, bitches. Greater accountability for everybody. I can tell you what, the comments that I'm hearing about her today gives me grave concern. It doesn't look like she will be assisting any Caymanians to advance in the organization. This person says the point is being that if Caymanians that issue the permits, the PR board and status, it's the Caymanians now complaining. It's good that these issues are now coming to light in a meaningful way. As I said to you, your contribution to community is invaluable. Someone says, whose cherished duty is no better? She's the head HR for business partner for Maples FS, and she hates the ground that Caymanians walk on. I used to work there, and the time I spent there, I have watched them use Caymanians until their probation is coming to an end, then let them go just to hire work permit holder to fill entry-level roles. She looks like one of them barmaids that Tony Travers used to talk about. Where we get her from? Which hole in the wall she came out of, honey child? Maples FS, another hot mess apparently. So this one now is the HR manager over there. And this person says, she bullies the people, she terminates, and I'm a victim of that. Wow. Unbelievable. Y'all think you can come to the Cayman Islands and bully Caymanians? We need to start standing up against this. This is unacceptable. Maples, don't bother sending me no emails today because I do not want to hear it. Oh, WRC didn't get it right. Yeah, okay. It's so funny how that only came to light only after the file gets to the DPP's office and they decide to proceed with charges. And then they turn around and drop 90% of the charges. Somebody says she's a Caymanian, her mother's Betty Ann and her father's Rob. What a hot mess. Like I said, some of her own are the worst. I'm just saying. Lord Jesus. What a conundrum. All right, this one says, tell the Caymanians. Hold on, let me bring it up on the screen. Tell the Caymanians who have had bad experience with Aisha to write to the CSPR board. Let them know so that they can pull her in and have a conversation and consider her status. Remind them, girl, imagine not giving a qualified Caymanian attorney any billable work, but asking them to scan documents. Isn't that for interns or even secretaries disgusting? Not even secretaries scan documents. That's for like mail clerks and stuff like that. Don Wilt says bunch of bitches. Darlene says they do because they know our own Caymanians bully their own. Such a shame. Some do stand up, says Jim, but what's the outcome? A slap and a fine, a very small fine at that. So as we can see, yes, and I've discussed how long they've been doing this with successive governments, and they do feel invincible. But as we can see here, folks, this is an issue that we have long had, that continues to be an issue. And I think it is beyond time now that we really start to call them all out. I mean, I sit here and talk about the little Jamaican in court who isn't paying insurance and work permit fees and doing this, that. I talk about Mr. McLaughlin at the construction site. So in my eyes, Maples and Calder is no different. If you're breaching our laws, you're no different. And in fact, you should be in a better position because you have all the money in the world, all the knowledge and expertise, et cetera, et cetera. So I actually expect more of you. But you will be highlighted just like everyone else when you do shit. So some grave concerns this morning about how this was handled by the DPP's office. The court does the fine, so that has nothing to do with WORC. And by the way, I've gotten confirmation that you don't need to register for the Cayman job sites. You just need to use the filters to look for the jobs, and you should be able to view it without actually having to register. So step up and do better. That would be my recommendation. No punches held back today. So also this person says, another problem is making staff who've worked for 10 to 30 years redundant after years of demanding loyalty, but turn around and hire a bunch of work permit holders for reworded posts. Government should check the CV of the individuals who were forced to leave against the new job description and titles. Someone should tell her that Applebee's and AGS are no better, and their head of HR fails to support Caymanians. Someone just sent this to me, and I can tell you the horror stories that person went through. Who's AGS? Oh, Attorney General? No. AGS. Who's AGS? I don't even know who that is. Oh, Lord. What I can fairly say without fear of contradiction is, folks, that this situation is a hot mess. And we cannot ignore it. We have got to stay committed to exposing these people. And once again, whoever made the initial decision in government to not even name this company, shame on all of you. Oh, Applebee Global Services. Thank you for the clarification. Okay. Applebee's sound like y'all gonna be highlighted here soon as well. Let's get it together. Maples, I expect better of you. I know you can do better. And all these training programs that you claim that you have in place that you actually don't. Can we get someone now from the Business Staffing Board to get statements from the Caymanians who've gone through these training programs? We can't just take these organizations and these companies at their word. We have got to hold their feet to the fire. On more than one occasion historically, they have proven, and I don't mean specifically to Maples, just generally speaking, these organizations and these companies have proven to be less than honest. So it is time now to show them that we mean business. Michael Miles, you've taken up a big task, and I hope that you're up for the job. We are here to support you in every way that we can. Take these organizations on and let them understand in no uncertain terms that this type of behavior will simply not be tolerated. Final call of the day. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra. Siobhan here. How are you?
Morning. Not bad. How are you?
Good, thank you. Interesting, very, very interesting topic. I just wanted to chime in. I had a very interesting, I will not name the minister, had a very interesting conversation with a sitting government minister this morning to kind of, I kind of laid into that individual, and I feel rightfully so, just to explain to him the level of, I'm not even sure what the word is, because unfair no longer satisfies with the treatment of Caymanian professionals in the financial services industry. I can speak to one particular situation that I am very aware of, very close friends with the individual, highly qualified, local Caymanian attorney, was poached from a large firm to kind of start the other firm. And as soon as they were able to get their $1 billion or $1 billion status, after what I believe was 6 years of stellar service to that company, obviously put them on the map so much so that that they helped her out of her job. I mean, she was replaced by a work permit holder, a foreign individual who they had tried to get her to hire in the past. And she'd said, well, this person doesn't have the relevant experience. There's surely a Caymanian either within the firm or that within my grasp who I am fairly confident is capable of, filling whatever role that you think needs to be filled. Well, that individual was helped out of her job and replaced with a work permit holder who walks around the country telling everyone who's willing to listen, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Excuse my language. I don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And the individual who was previous, mind you, they've made that person redundant. So this is what they continue to do. If you are in the car dealership business, how do you wake up one day and suddenly decide that you don't need car salesmen? That is your business. How do you make a person redundant from a particular role that is the company's primary and sole operating business? How do you determine that you no longer? How is it allowed? How is it legal? Mind you, I understand from a legal perspective, you don't have an obligation to keep people that you don't want. But it shouldn't be so easy to wake up and decide because, and I mean, in this particular case that I am speaking about, this was purely because she tried to advance Caymanians within the firm and was in no uncertain terms wrapped over the knees, the hands, the fists, the head until the inevitable of her being pushed out, only to find out, still having connections within the firm that, by the way, Sandra, who you were previously told to hire, well, she's here now. How is this? Where is work on this? Where are these things happening? Where is the due diligence? This stuff is rampant. Where are the protections? Like I said, I spoke to a minister this morning and explained to him that the atrocities that are happening to Caymanian senior corporate service and financial services professionals in the industry is despicable. It is despicable. What is being done to protect us after years and years and years of service just kind of kicked out because we dare ask for Caymanians to be given the same opportunities that we were afforded. And I'm doing something about it. I'm waiting for the next sitting of cabinet. Well, say something. I don't recall any one of the 55, 56 candidates that ran saying not having immigration reform and employment reform as part of their campaign. I haven't heard a single one of them mention anything about it. The only person I've heard anything to date mention anything about it was Sabrina. Sabrina? And in case we missed the memo, she's no longer a sitting member of parliament. What are we doing? For people out there saying, oh, well, they've only been in 3 months. They had an entire year to prime the pump. You should have by now had some policy in place. The business community shouldn't be quote unquote caught off guard. This should have just rolled out. You should have known that I want to be the Minister of Finance, Education, Planning, Agriculture, whatever. I don't care. You should have had your plan in place. This should come as no surprise to people. This should come as no surprise to Maples, Walkers, Intertrust, AGS, AGC, Applebit, none of these places, small farms, big farms, micro farms, whatever, that there are changes coming down the pipeline. It is going to be painful. It is going to affect us all, but it is for the benefit and the protection of Caymanians. If we are not protecting Caymanians, then what is this all for? I mean, kudos to the minister and the premier. I think he changed the name of the Labour Department to Caymanian Labour. I didn't understand it. Perhaps he might want to enlighten me. But employment protection cannot just be for Caymanians. It must be for employees on a whole. And I appreciate the sentiment and I appreciate him trying to be loyal. But what actually needs to happen is legislation needs to be gutted.
Yes.
Properly done and properly done to protect employees, properly done to protect particularly Caymanians. If you are not protecting Caymanians in every facet, then what are we building this for? And let me put a little plug in there before I let you go. And to the idiot that had the audacity to talk about the lazy Caymanian, I wish we were a bit more lazy. Maybe his bum ass would not be here. Caymanians built this country so people like him could enjoy what they enjoy now. So you tell him, I say, have a good day and he can leave on the next meeting that's going. I'm happy to contribute to his fare.
Thank you, caller. This person says, just to chime in, having worked at Maples FS for a very long time, I can afford to tell you there are persons in there who see no value in anyone who has Indigenous Caymanian attached to their name. I've seen the favoritism, especially among the young Caymanian women who have done any and everything immoral, any and every immoral thing, to get to where they are in that company. They are the epitome of kisses go by favor. Lord Jesus, please, Caymanians, do not lower yourselves, especially our women, because I've seen it firsthand myself as well at Maples and even at Walkers, trying to have sex and get pregnant by partners and certain things. And it does not, no matter what hard work you put in after that, you will always be remembered for sleeping your way, not even to the top. That's the sad part, but for sleeping your way into a position. I beg you, do not, lower your standards and bring yourselves down to this. And some of these people y'all be sleeping with are just so disgusting and absolutely nasty. The person goes on to say, and about the drugs, especially the cocaine in the law firms, Lord God, that's like having a morning coffee for many of these lawyers. Run a line and go to work because they're functional. They can still do billable hours. They can still perform. So you figure that out. This person says, blessed good morning, San, dearest, and thank you as always. Another phenomenal show. God is always on time. Hot topics, them same Maples, and yes, same redundancy of long-serving Caymanians, including myself. So unfair as they hired expats to replace us. Thanks for your comment, Reed Paul Lumsden. I knew it was not going to be the same after his retirement. He was one of us, so kind and fair to all. I could not ask for a better boss and managing partner. Oh, sorry, my goodness, my apologies. The new managing partner could never step in his shoes. I remember, and this is one of the stories that will always stick to me from my days at Maples and Calder that was so incredibly unfair. They had a Caymanian file clerk. Now, she was no brilliant person. She was a file clerk and, well, she did her job, okay? I mean, how hard can it be to be a file clerk? Photocopying and putting paper in a file, in the right order. Yeah. So I remember that she had married this little Jamaican guy. She got pregnant. She had a baby. She went on maternity leave. And those of you who were there from back in my days, you probably know exactly who she is. She went on to work for DART, ironically enough, and has been with DART for 20 something years, like ever since. So, you know, there are people who have limitations. Not everybody's going to be a lawyer. Not everybody's going to be the most brilliant paralegal and so forth. There's some people, they're going to be a file clerk. They're going to work in the mailroom their whole lives. And it is what it is, okay? You don't have expectations of those people necessarily advancing. They may not have the intellectual capacity to do it. They may not even have the desire to do it. So anyway, she went on maternity leave. And I remember when she was coming back or was scheduled to come back from maternity leave, the partner that was her boss, Tim Ridley at the time, went into HR and said, don't bring her back. Caymanian, limited skills, limited opportunities, and said, do not bring her back. I don't want her to come back. She'd been there for, oh God, I want to say maybe 8-9 years at that point. And he says, don't bring her back after maternity leave. Now, you guys can imagine, you just had a baby. Everybody knows the stress of that could put you under. The additional financial responsibility. You need your low salary. You're coming back to work. And this big time partner who the few little dollars she was making, if she's making $2,500 back in those days, she's probably making plenty of money, right? Goes to HR and says, fire her, let her go. Do not bring her back. She did. It's not like she did anything. I mean, I think his argument was like, oh, you know, she just wasn't performing. It took you 9 years because she was with his team for 9 years to figure out she didn't know how to file a piece of paper. And you couldn't offer her some assistance in dealing with that. I'm like, there was no remediation. There was no warning. There was nothing. They just let her go. And, you know, he had the audacity to give her, I can't remember if it was 100, something for her to go and buy diapers from. I said, how long is that going to last this woman? I have always, and I mean, Olivera Watler, Teresa Lewis, Mary, who's still working for Maples, all these people might remember me at some point or another speaking about this because that really hurt me in my heart. I said, listen, I don't have no problem with these people on a personal level. I see them. You respect me. I'm going to respect you. When they came to me with their shit about when they say jump, I must say how high. I was like, not today, Bobo. That's not me. I ain't doing it. That's not my MO. You have me confused with some other Caymanian. I told him he had me confused with another Caymanian that gave a damn because it definitely was not me. We cannot afford for these people to buy us and sell us as though we were still slaves in our own country, not for any amount of money in the world. Y'all hear me? You have got to stand up, and not just for yourselves, but for your fellow Caymanians. There will be a day when you will see an injustice like this occurring. A poor file clerk on maternity leave, and that's when you decide to fire this girl, to make her redundant, to get, not even redundant because the position was still there, to get rid of her. I had to speak up. I'm like, this is wrong. And then give her a little $1,000 check, talking about, oh, this will help you buy some formula and diapers. For how fucking long would that have helped anybody with a baby and to take care of? You see, you cannot treat people like that and think that the universe is going to really put you in good stead. And that really, really hurt me. And of all of the experiences, good and bad and indifferent, that I had at Maples and Calder, somebody know exactly who she is. They just mentioned her. That's right. Of all of the experiences that I've had, you know, oh, she's made redundant from DART too? Oh, shit. Lord Jesus. I really have to say, it's like, that was, and I saw some shit there, trust me. But for me, that was a low point that really hurt. I was just like, come on. And every time I see these people, these are the stories that I think about when it comes to them. You know? All the shit that they're sitting there doing. Fornicating with their secretaries. Some of them got secretaries pregnant. Having affairs on their wives with Tom, Dick, and Harry. Some of them screwing man, woman, and everything in between. It's just like, wow. They don't have no moral compass, Naina. They'll do any shit. The cocaine is the least of it for some of them. But when you treat the least of us like that, I'm just like, that's a different kind of wickedness, you know? Completely different kind of wickedness. And there are those of us who do not forget. I'm just saying. This person, thank you so much. They said, forget about WORC. I think in this instance, WORC did their part. My eyes are on the DPP's office. Why were all of these charges dropped? Anyway, folks, what a mess. We got to take control of this good ship Cayman. Lisa says, same sexual nastiness, nasty behavior in government. We hear a lot of those stories too. But we've got to take control of this good ship Cayman. And that's why I can't support any of this foolishness that happens. Listen, I'm not here to be your preacher. I'm not here to force you to read your Bible, to take communion, to be a good person, a moral person. I'm not here to do any of that. But when you work in positions, yes, Lisa, in the civil service, that's why I had to take on Chris Saunders and had to expose him for the dirty little fucker that he is. Sexual harassment is a serious concern in a lot of different organizations. And unfortunately, there are women who will fall to the pressure. So you can go out there and sleep with whoever you want as long as they're not underage. You're not sleeping with people against their will, right? If it's consenting, that's you and the other person's business. I don't even care if you're married. That's between you and your spouse and the other person and God. But what I cannot condone is sexually harassing people, forcing people into positions, especially because they're Caymanians and they don't have anybody to go to. They don't have a voice. They don't have, you know. And I got an email this morning. I haven't even read the full email yet. It was so long. It was very long. I started to read it. I was like, oh my God, this is a book. People reach out to me every single day that are not Caymanians. In fact, the majority of people who reach out to me for help are not Caymanians. And I help them with the same passion and commitment that I do my own people. Because right is right and wrong is wrong. And you cannot mistreat people when it comes to employment situations, housing situations, you know, all these different areas that we need to clean up and clean up very, very quickly and think that you can get away with it. It's wrong. So today's conversation isn't an us versus them conversation. It is highlighting an area in which we, as Caymanians, have continually been on the receiving end of the bad end of the stick. We're not getting fair opportunities. We're not getting career advancements. So my expat friends, I want y'all to know, no bad feelings, and I don't care where you're from. Okay? I got Filipino friends, I got Indian friends, I got Jamaican friends all over the globe. International crew. This isn't what that's about. But this is an issue that Caymanians are dealing with every single day. This country, whatever little square mileage we claim we have, cannot be a successful country and reap the benefits of what was created and the hard work that our forefathers, some of them lost their lives at sea, the little things that they did to build this community so that not only we could enjoy it, but we're one of the most enviable, jurisdictions in the world. Everybody wants to come here. You can come here, but there are conditions to you coming here. You come here, Caymanians first. You don't mistreat Caymanians in the workplace. And I don't give two shits if you're married to Caymanian or not. Okay? Respect is due to the people of this country. Our forefathers built this with the help of, yes, some others. But this country would not be where it is today had it not been for Caymanians making the right decisions in terms of the contributions, in terms of our government, et cetera, et cetera. So we will claim what is rightfully ours that we have earned. Okay? If you do not like it, the beautiful Owen Roberts International Airport is there. And we've got planes coming and going from Miami every blessed day. And so you are more than welcome. Some of us will be happy to contribute to that ticket. You're more than welcome to get on the flight and skedoodle out of here. Okay? We don't want anyone here who doesn't understand what this country is all about, the community that we have built. There's a reason why expats have felt so amazing to be able to come here, because we've always put y'all on a pedestal and oftentimes treated you all better than we have our own people. And that's a problem. Because y'all understood, well, they think I'm special just because I'm a foreigner, just because I've got a particular accent and I got straight hair and fair skin. And our own people are to blame for that, because some of y'all don't even like your own people. Some of y'all would never marry a fellow Caymanian. So we have sent the message out there, don't respect us. We're not valuable. We're not important. Anything foreign is better than us, no matter which hole in the wall it came out of. So guess what? We've got to change that narrative. We've got to correct it and fix this situation. We've opened our arms as a country to every nationality in the world. We have over 130 something nationalities here and very little to no strife. Everybody gets along. That isn't accidental. That's people who have traditionally had a good heart, who have traditionally been all about Caymankind. But you see, our Caymankindness has been a curse, because some people are of the opinion that, if you're kind, you're stupid, you're dumb, and we're going to take advantage of you. So let's stop it. All right? We're not here to hate on you. We want to invite you to our homes, invite you to our churches, invite you to our social events, invite you to our parties. We want to be inclusive. But just please remember, this is called the Cayman Islands for a reason. It's not Little America. It's not Little British. It's not Maple Leaf Canada. It's none of those things. So come here and respect the people. Trying to undermine us at every turn is not going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form. Jamaicans have come here and benefited. Canadians have come here and benefited. Filipinos come here. The Indians, the Africans, everybody. And so Caymanians are feeling the pressure of it now. We are outnumbered in our country. Those of you who are Americans, y'all elected a man who is batshit crazy, Mr. Orange Man, simply because he tapped in to your prejudices. We don't want no more foreigners here. Let's deport them all. Now he's going to start to deport Americans. That's not the madness that I'm talking about here. I'm saying that we can live in a cohesive manner. The pie is large enough to do that. Y'all already outnumber us. Not enough Caymanians here, even if we wanted to. We can't possibly have enough children, but you will respect us on this soil. We are sick and tired of the Larrys and Lindas of this world, okay? Who have a road rage incident and can approach a little 17-year-old boy on a Cayman street and assault him and try to pull him out of his own fucking vehicle. Where's the DPP's office with that? How long do they have to have that file and review it before they do the right thing? That's a simple case. We are feeling encroached upon. And part of the problem is no one is having this conversation with you guys, or you're not listening and you just don't get it. Imagine being in your own country, going to Canada, and every job you go to, every government department you go to, the people at the head, the HR managers, they're all expats. Every restaurant you go into, the vast majority of workers are Canadians trying to run from their 50-something% taxes on their salary. You would understand the pressures, as El Rey says, expat fatigue. You would understand the pressures of what that feels like to be so encroached upon. These people come here and they think they know better than us. They think they know everything. Right? They're in media. They run media houses. They're the experts. Government relies on their opinion more than Caymanians. I'm just saying, we've had enough. And so all we're asking for is a little bit of respect in our own country. That's not a hard ask. That's not something you should find difficult to be able to do. Someone wants, they're willing to work. They have the right attitude. They're working towards the qualifications. Maples and Calder, what is wrong with giving Caymanians an opportunity? Walkers, Applebee's, I don't care which law firm it is. What is wrong with giving Caymanians the opportunity in their own countries to advance? Because this is a problem that you guys do not get. If Caymanians continue to be marginalized in this country and we don't advance in a way that is fair and equitable, you will never live in this country in peace. Eventually, no gated community in the world, let me make myself clear here this morning, I don't care what gates you're behind, it is not going to benefit you, and it's not going to help you when all hell breaks loose in this country. So my position is very, very simple. Before we get to that, yes, let us try to work together. Let me explain to you in a logical way why you cannot continue to hold Caymanians down and marginalize us. You could be making $100,000 a month now at Maples and Calder. That money will do you no good if this is not a safe and amazing country to live in. If we continue on this route, Caymanians will not give a shit about protecting any of this because we're not benefiting. And at some point, we're going to say to hell with all of you. You're not going to live here in peace either. Would you not rather meet us at 60-40? That's what the law says. 60% Caymanian ownership, and you guys can be the 40%. I'm just saying, meet us there before it's too late. This is entirely foreseeable. In 20 years, 30 years, what sort of conversations will we be having around this issue? At some point, people get sick and tired of talking about the same thing over and over again with no significant action. So don't get in your feelings, my Jamaican brothers and sisters, my Canadian brothers and sisters, my Filipino brothers and sisters. Do not get in your feelings when I tell you that this country is for Caymanians first. It's as simple as that. Civil service, we gonna roll you over and out. Don't get up any feelings about it. The judiciary. Look at who works in the judiciary. Look at the DPP's office. Where are the Caymanians? hospitals, all over the place. Come. Carrie says our government hates us. Well, you can't live among people that you hate. Now, I said earlier, they don't have to love us. I mean, they don't have to love us, but you have to understand how it works. You shouldn't be hating us. And Ransford Myers says, I disagree, Sandy. If you can't love the people, don't live in their country. Of course, there will always, some of you need to avoid. Of course, there will always some you need to avoid. But listen, I'm not even asking you for love. I'm just saying that you can't come here and hate us and try to do us wrong and think that that's how it's going to go, because that's not going to work. I'm not looking for your love. What we need is your respect and your understanding of how the rules in our country will work for the betterment of our people. That's it. That's all I can tell you. I know I'm not looking for love in all the wrong places. Folks, that's all I got to say on the topic here today. I really hope that Maples and Calder can listen to this with an open mind and understand where I'm coming from. It's not a position of hate. I don't hate these organizations. I think that they play a very, very important role in our economic prosperity. But the economic prosperity cannot be lopsided. And based on what I have seen and I've heard and I've experienced myself being part of, again, the Maples team for 3.5 years, I was at law school, and I thank them every single day for giving me that opportunity. But I also know when I first went there, I had one of my own tell me they were doubtful that I would even get the scholarship because they don't like Black people is what I was told. And you're here too niggerish for them. I said, well, I got to apply anyway. And so when I got it, I said, well, there you go. What are you going to do? We have to take advantage of the opportunities as and when they present themselves to us as Caymanians. Let me be clear about that as well. We have to do our part. But when people are doing their part and they're doing the most and they're still being held down, that is a serious indictment on the entire country from the top all the way down, including the civil service, private sector. It don't matter to me. So we got to do better. Maples, get your shit together. You need to look closely at your HR department based on some of the things that have been disclosed and we've heard about your Aisha woman. See her there again, just to make sure. You better look at the one over at Maples Finance, and you better get people in human resources who, number one, know the law, who respect the law, who are going to make the right decisions by Caymanians as the law requires them to do. That's all I'm going to say. Folks, 5 o'clock this evening, tune in to Sabrina Speaks. The conversation continues with her. And to the nasty person who got in the comments yesterday talking about she must go sit down and oh, she lost an election and this and that. Let me address that person here today. Now, Sabrina, in her eloquence, addressed them yesterday. Oh, she really, oh, you know, Sabrina and I had a little blip at one point, but you know, I respect her. And I must tell you, some of y'all, oh, she too this, she talking too proper. If that's how the woman speaks, leave the woman alone. Everybody's different. Let me say this to that person who was just being nasty because they felt like they could be. Honey, child, don't try it. I say you're lucky it wasn't me that you were trying to come at. I might have had a good day and been as professional as her, but a lot of days I can just cuss you out about your blood clot self. Okay? Some of you are so beyond petty. Here's Sabrina. She's well aware that she lost the election. Who don't know that? Only by 15 votes, but it doesn't matter. She lost the election and she's moving on with her life. Based on the views that she's gotten, she's doing an amazing job. 2 of her shows from last week had 17,500 views already. And there are people still catching up and watching last week's episodes. Why y'all sit back in the peanut gallery? This is what I can't stand now about some people. And in all likelihood, that was one of her own. That was a Caymanian that found the time to sit down there trying to come for Sabrina yesterday about, oh, what is she doing on air? Nobody don't want to hear her. Well, clearly she got a lot of people who do want to hear her. I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Go and take several seats. The ridiculousness with which you people operate your lives is, to me, really, really nothing. And I have a special message here for you that I want to play. Just for you, whoever you are hiding behind that fake account. I forgot what the account was called now on YouTube. You got time to hide behind a fake account. I got a real special message for you here today. And I want you to pay very, very close attention to it. Anybody else can find that person? Go tag them back. I can't remember what their name, Smoking Gun or something they were called. Something stupid. I want you to listen to this message because this message is designed just for you. Y'all ready for it this morning? This is how we're going to end the show, honey child. So here you go.
Many people struggle with this common type of human being. Do-nothing bitches are vampires of other people's joy. Instead of living authentically, they feed off masking their true selves, doing nothing and criticizing others who actually put themselves out there. Do-nothing bitches can be highly manipulative. So here are some gold standard clapbacks when a do-nothing bitch starts with their bullshit. When they start to claim you're too much, offer them a mirror and tell them to look for less. Draw a diagram that identifies where your business is and where their business is to visually show them they're in the wrong area. Remind them of the ancient proverb, to fuck around is to find out, and the more they fuck around, the more they're going to find out. So the next time you encounter a do-nothing bitch, hold your head high and know their obsession with you is masking their jealousy of your confidence, your freedom in your self-expression, and most importantly, your authenticity. And also, fuck them. They're toxic.
All right. And in case you didn't get the message, one more for you, honey child. One more for you.
Everyone does it. Now you can do it too. Shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth. Shut up. Shut the hole in your face. Like that. You can do it. Shh. Shut up. And shut the fuck up.
There you go, folks. Have a beautiful and blessed day. I will surely be tuned in at 5 o'clock, and I hope to see you there too. All right, honey child. That's all we got for now.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.